hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me.
And wait, am I talking?
I hear you.
You do?
But then again, you're sitting right next to me.
Well, I am, isn't I? There I am. Yep. I am broadcasting, and I forgot to name the episode, didn't I?
Yeah, well, it's got a good name.
I gotta look. I gotta actually look and see what the hell I named this. I'm always doing these things on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm like multitasking, and that's never a good thing because you just never know. Oh, I better not do a profile.
No, that's that would be bad. Nope.
There's a conspiracy, I tell you. There's those who are hunting for such things. And let me just pull this up. Let's go to Don Cam for a second. Hi.
You haven't unmuted me yet.
There you are. How you doing tonight, Don?
Beautiful. Nice. I'm doing well, thank you. It seems to be Wednesday night. That's actually a good thing.
I know. It never can come soon enough.
I know, huh? Yeah, and then the weekend comes so fast. It's like, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Oh. Wow, look at that. We got 10 people in here already. We got Pixie and Lady Death and MCAT. We got Renee. Let's see, who else do we got? Oh, that's it so far. Where the heck are the rest of you? Shout up. Come on, let's hear it.
All right.
And don't forget to like, love, subscribe, and share.
I know. It's so sweet when people do that. And last Saturday's episode was just a resounding success.
Oh, it was awesome.
It was absolutely astonishing, and it's by far the most aggressively watched and episode we've ever done, which is phenomenal. And of course, having someone like Bear on makes that pretty easy. Yeah. And all of the guests this month, I just think that it's all really managed to give us so much traction, having these high quality, amazing people on the show and sharing their thoughts and experiences and stuff. And so it's what they've helped to bring to the show. I mean, they really brought this this energy, synergy, or whatever you want to say, and it's just been amazing watching this grow and grow and grow. The last episode, and by a lot of standards on YouTube, I mean, we're a small channel, but it's growing. It's really taking off. I've never seen so many subscribers all at once, and it was just phenomenal.
Yep. And don't forget, though, make sure you send us in your request to have Bear on again as soon as possible. Because if we can show Bear that you guys want to see him and talk to him and hear him, well, then you got to send in the love for him so we can get him back on faster than normal.
Yeah, that and not only that, but I definitely want to know you guys are okay with it. And I figured you would be because, of course, it was just absolutely entertaining. But, we've never done that before, had someone on. And then, I just feel that there's so many questions that were sent in, and we only got a chance to get to a handful of them.
Handful? Well, it was like 4.
Yeah, I mean, 4. And, it's everybody, those people that sent in questions took the time to do it.
Yep.
And I want to make sure they get an opportunity to have their questions answered as much as we can.
Yep.
And I know Bear is willing to come back, but I just wanted to throw it out there for you guys. Like, are you okay with this? Because I'd like to get him back on, and we can take another stab at it and see how far we can get this next time. Everything he was talking about was incredibly interesting and fun to listen to, and some great and amazing insights into a creature that we're just
So elusive.
yeah. I mean, we don't know where it is. A lot of us have no clue about this thing, but it's neat to talk to somebody that's really got the behaviors dialed in. You can tell this man has spent a large portion of his life piecing this together, taking all these puzzle pieces
Right.
and making a cohesive picture, including behavior. And to me, that's the most interesting thing, and that's why I was a fan of bears for ages before ever having the chance to meet with him and talk with him, and that was nothing short of an honor and a wonderful thing. But I just want to make sure you guys are on board with it, because I'd love to have him on. He's said that he's willing to, but again, it certainly would motivate the situation to hear from you guys and hear that that's what you want to happen. So let us know. It's posted on our Paranormal Portal Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. And Don, you've posted it
Oh gosh,
a whole bunch of places.
Yeah, I've got it on quite a few things.
So
We've gotten already some traction on it too. So
yeah, I
definitely.
mean, so a lot of you guys have already responded, which is really cool. But again, thank you guys, those of you that sent in questions. That was awesome. I know that Don, it's a good thing he wears a hat, otherwise he'd probably be bald, because the chat room was just
exploding,
just going nuts
It was
up in
crazy.
here.
I got to give props to Lady Death and Pixie though. They were sending me questions as they saw them in there, and I do appreciate that.
Right.
That way, I can help get some more questions loaded up and ready to go.
Right.
So thank you both. We'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a long stretch for both Don and I to go from that Saturday evening episode and wait until Wednesday to do it all over again.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
But it was really busy, even though I've been just really busy making I'm making another one of these. But in case you missed it,
The Booga Buster.
yeah, I haven't quite named it officially yet, but I think it's important, if you're going to try to trap something, to use a design that is tried and true, and you can rely on it. It's been thoroughly tested and proven, and therefore I came up with this. This is my idea of a Bigfoot trap, and I think it'll work. I'm feeling good about this, Don. You?
I'm loving it.
Okay. Well, I hope so. I think that it's a great idea, and it's modeled after a mousetrap, which I think is important, because mousetraps have been in use forever, and so we know we can rely on the design. And no, it's just it's just something cute and fun that I made up. And I'm gonna make another one and probably sell it or do something with it, but I just had a lot of fun with it. So I've been doing another one of these, putting it together. I think the hardest thing about doing something like this, the first one you do is always, how does this work? What is going to work? How do I need to do these things to make it work? And so once I got those processes dialed in, then that made it so much easier. So the second one has definitely come together a lot faster. But yeah, that's my whatever it's going to be called. Maybe you guys can help me name it. What is this called? Is it a squatch smacker? Is it a
booger buster?
A booger buster? Is it a I don't know.
Yeah. What is it?
What is it? A Bigfoot? I don't know. Whatever goes together sounds to you guys, but I'd love some help naming this, so I can I'm going to put the name right down here underneath the foot. So we'll see what we're going to call it, but that's my plan. So I've been working on that.
Sam Squatch Slapper.
Sam Squanch.
It's a Sam Squatch.
Sam Squanch. Yeah, that wasn't that Butters, or what is that guy's name? Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah. Trailer Park Boys. Yeah. Hilarious. There's actually a video of him playing with Rush as well, which is, I don't know if he's any good at doing it, but he was jamming. He was jamming hard with Geddy Lee and the guys. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't. But
YouTube it.
You know, I love Rush, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So very cool. But thank you guys for coming back to the show tonight. We are thrilled to be here and thrilled to have another opportunity to spend more time with you, quality time, and share our version of the paranormal world around us. So, first of all, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go over a picture that came out. And now I got to thank Danielle for this. That's who posted it, right, Don? It was
Yes.
Danielle, and she's a friend, a dear friend, and has really helped out, helping us keep an eye on the Paranormal Portal page
Yeah.
on Facebook, and posting a lot of different content. And she found this, and I thought it was really interesting, and it's really spooky. It's really spooky, and
It's creepy as hell.
Don, can you give more background to what's going on here?
What I understand is this is a picture that was sent to a friend of his, and now the guy was in the car. Somehow, it burst into flames, and he made it out okay. I guess he turned around and wanted to snap a picture of it, and this is the picture he got.
Yeah, so let's go to the 3-panel here, and I'll share it with you guys. And you guys can tell me if you see anything bizarre.
Yeah,
So
there's something really bizarre there.
there's the image, and I will zoom in, but you'd swear you were looking at someone crawling out of that window.
Yeah.
That is so eerie.
God, yeah.
It's like a woman, like some kind of elemental woman.
Yeah,
the hair going down and the face and
Samara.
yeah, Samara, kind of a Samara character.
A
Yeah,
monster on the hood.
right. Yeah, really crazy.
Yeah, it's for jumping out of your car because it's on fire and turning around and snapping a pic. That's awesome.
Now, when you were explaining the source of the picture, it was just something that was found online. Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just something that Danielle found on Facebook, and she
Okay.
passed it on because she showed it to me. I'm like, yeah, you got to post that. So
That
there it
is
is.
so creepy.
But yeah, it looks like the head. You can see the head, the shoulder, the arm coming down.
Yeah.
And then in the back, you pointed something else out. What do you think that is in the back there? Through the little window. Does it
I think
look
it's
like something there to you?
It's completely pareidolia, or however you pronounce it.
Pareidolia.
Well, yeah, but it looks like half of a face back here, and I think I saw it better when I zoomed out a little bit, but it looks like half of a face here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure it's just a function of the flame
Right.
making. I mean, you could say that in looking at this, you could say this was a face right here,
Right.
where I'm
Yeah.
circling with the mouse, because you got the two eyes, a nose, and some kind of grimace. And,
Mm-hmm.
Flames are real dynamic that way. And, of course, our brains try to find familiar patterns in chaotic sequences. And certainly flames are a whole lot of chaotic sequence. But,
Yeah, Dory, it kind of does look like a dog. So if you right that smoke right to her right,
Oh,
right
this?
there, yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a dog. Dory said that.
Yeah.
Like a dog coming out of the top of the camper shell.
right, but this is just one of those
Yeah, this-
creepy
yeah.
pictures. And you often wonder if there isn't an intelligence behind some of this
Yeah.
crazy stuff that can happen.
What this guy do to piss him off?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, whose grave did he pee on?
Yeah,
Because
no doubt.
this
Too
is
many parties in the graveyard, man.
yeah, exactly. So
I think I have an attachment. I think she's attached to me.
yeah, that's an
Wow.
attachment you definitely don't want, because
Mm-hmm.
if that is indeed some kind of entity, that is all kinds of wrong.
Ooh, witchy woman.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Holy
just
crap.
creepy as hell.
Yeah, I definitely have a code brown on that one.
Right, and so I thought that was pretty amazing picture. And again, I understand it could be just suggestive that it just suggests the shape of a person, or finding that, and then it could very well be just nothing.
Right.
I don't claim to oh, that's definitely a spirit. No, I don't know, but you can it doesn't take any struggle to see
No,
why other people are saying this
it
is a
stands
spirit.
right out.
Right, it jumps right out at you like, oh my God, it looks like a woman, long black hair, and coming out of that window, kind of looking down at the ground, and
Yeah, craziness.
I heard she was real hot.
Ah!
Thank you.
Wow.
So
wow.
that's one of two pictures I wanted to show you tonight of pretty impressive spirit photography, or potential spirit
Yeah,
photography.
absolutely.
And again, it's could very well be just just a pattern.
Yeah.
Just the way the flame was billowing out the door, and it be captured that perfect moment on the shutter.
Right.
Whatever whatever you believe is fine. There's another picture I wanted to show you guys.
This one is absolutely amazing.
This
I can't
one
believe
is
this one.
This is probably the best spirit photo I've ever seen in my life, and you'll see when I put it up on screen.
yeah.
You will see this is definitely amazing. And it's not only just one spirit. This person managed to capture 3 of them.
Yes,
And
all in one picture.
all in one picture. And they are, it looks to be a very intelligent group of spirits. Like, they seem to be very aware of the person
yeah.
taking the picture.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to bring this to your guys' attention.
Yeah, this
and
one's awesome.
yeah, so I'm thinking this is probably one of the most impressive spirit photos I've ever seen in my life. And, I'm not sure what's going on with this little demon thing down here, but, apparently he's friends with the grandpa, and this is...
The grandson? Yeah, I think that's the grandson.
I think it's a family unit. And not sure what this... So, yeah, I think that's a pretty amazing spirit photo. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because...
That's amazing.
It's hard to get captures that are that clear and pristine.
Yeah,
and,
no doubt. Yeah, it's real clear, nice
right.
resolution too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those once in a lifetime kind of captures.
I wonder if we can get Robin Moonshadow to speak about that little creature in between there.
Yeah, maybe this is a proto pygmy. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And that would prove that they are actually a spiritual being as well. So there you guys go. But a little humor. What did you expect? This is a portal. So.
Oh boy! Welcome to Wednesday, everyone.
Welcome to Wednesday. So, as far as spirit photos, this is the most impressive one I've ever seen. So,
goodness.
I just had to throw that in there, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the portal where everything is on the plate.
And that's why you tune in to see us.
Yeah, you just never know what kind of stupidity we're going to do next.
Dory says that little creature looks to be about her height.
Dory, are you saying you're vertically challenged? Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, God love you.
Oh, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty humorous. I
thought it was
with
awesome, yeah.
Yeah. A good joke for the portal because we're just funny guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. We're 2 wild and crazy guys.
That's right, as Steve Martin would say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so moving along, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are going to talk about... I wish Restream didn't do that. I hate how it keeps putting its own crap in there on the description. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, free plug. I pay for that damn program.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be putting their ads all over it. Yeah, that's bunk. I think I'll write an email. How many have words?
Kind of like what you did with ThoughtCo about the broken links.
Yeah. That what is that? Yeah, ThoughtCo. Yeah,
I was like,
that piece of trash.
If you need help, just give me a ring.
I emailed them.
This.
Yeah, it's ladies and gentlemen, ThoughtCo.com is a site, and
they have some great stories, but
it looks like they have a bunch of amazing stuff on there, but none of their links work right. They steer you everywhere else. That you want to go see the story of the nun that's haunting the cathedral. You click it, and then you end up on sleep paralysis. Yeah, brown chicken, brown cow. Sleep paralysis or something just clearly unrelated, like somebody just got stoned and decided to
Extendivite.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you might want to mention about the call-in number too.
Oh, yeah, don't call in. The call-in number on Wednesday nights, ladies and gentlemen, does not work, so you won't be able to call in and talk to us tonight.
Bother us.
Or, yeah. But,
Get
however, we do reserve Wednesday nights it's the call-in number becomes the Paranormal Portal complaint line, so so feel free to call if you got something to complain about.
They probably don't know us anyhow, so it's like whenever. Zach's like, who are they?
Yeah, no. What
does that mean?
That's the studio line, ladies and gentlemen. So on Friday and Saturday nights we're tied into TFR Live,
our network, yeah.
Yeah, our host network for the Paranormal Portal, and the line, of course, is the always line for the studio.
Oh yeah.
And so whoever has their show go on if they pull up the call board, they would see those calls there.
Have a call? This isn't a call-in show.
Yeah,
Caller,
exactly.
You're on the air. Never mind. Click.
If I logged in and I could unmute people and
oh geez, that'd be funny. That'd be hilarious.
It'd be like, I'm pretty sure it'd be the death of our show.
Quick, call the Paranormal
on
Portal.
that network. Yeah.
Call Brent. Yeah. He knows what's going on. Yeah, he does.
Give me a free Sasquatch trap giveaway. Just call in.
Oh, that'd be precious.
That would be horrible.
Ah,
I would be a horrible human being to do something like that, so I wouldn't. But no, don't call in tonight.
no.
There is no call-in number for our Wednesday night streams. I don't know how to do it other than to put my own Skype out there, and I love you all dearly, but
We don't need that.
I've already got like 100 people on there, and it's growing all the time. And I just got to keep some things sacred.
Is there another way to get a different one? I mean,
I don't know. We'll have to look into that and see if there is a way.
or another one.
It would
I should say.
require a whole new graphic then for our Wednesday streams as well, which would be
Trina.
kind of a pain. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's up there because it works on the Friday, Saturday shows, but not on Wednesday. So we're gonna dive into some of these paranormal encounter stories because I love these stories. I really do. I don't know. What did I see looking at me in the dark? No, I always do this, and that's stupid. I should close these things when I'm done. So, like, when I leave them open, it's like, did I read that or didn't I? Because I got these great sites that I just kind of go down. And then if I leave a story open, I don't know if it's something I read or not. So, just a rookie move, ladies and gentlemen, but that's what it was. Let's start this out. I was followed by a ghost.
Oh.
I have no idea where to begin with this, so the story starts when I met this guy and we became friends. We would hang out every day. One day, this guy's and some others, our usual group, were hanging out by the sea. We were by some benches and a wooden circle which could be stood on. Suddenly, I hear, "Run." This startled and I was startled and confused. I had no idea what was going on. The guy then says to us, "Remember that I told you I played the Ouija board?" We nodded. "Well, she's here right now. She's behind us."
Oh, Jesus.
Needless to say, I was absolutely freaking out. Nothing like this had ever happened to me. My best friend was with us, and she got so scared she went home. Did I mention how dark it was? Did I mention that I was 13 years old?
Oh, Jesus.
13.
Oh, God.
We all went to the park. There was now 4 of us. Me and one of the others got under the boat. I was so scared that I held his hand. So I assume it's a male. The other 2 were outside the boat and could see everything. The guy says, "Look at the swing. The swing is moving." I couldn't look, of course. I went home quickly after that. Had so many incidences like this, I will never forget this night. This was one of the worst of them all. We were in the park once again. H said, "Look at the pole over there. She's dancing. If you see her once, you'll never stop." Do you think I looked? Well, I didn't. I didn't want to see the damn thing, and everyone but me saw her. But she then moved to the park entrance to get away from her. We had to go past her. We did that, and do you think something happened? Nothing happened. Well, this is a weird written story. Ever. There were multiple times that we were running away from her. We then became friends with someone else. He too was being followed by something. Me and this guy lived a couple of houses from each other, and if we looked out of our bedroom windows, we could see our houses. All of us had a group chat on Facebook, all 5 of us. And one night on the chat, the guy that we hadn't been friends with for long says, "She's outside my house. She's walking to yours right now." I panicked and never once looked out my window. I should have. I really should have. Do you think I heard or saw anything? I saw nothing. This person always asks the question first. I heard nothing. All of us 5 drifted apart from me and my best friend and 2 others. The story ends here. It turns out we were all gullible as hell because the whole thing was made up. The thing people were seeing were probably their imagination, thinking they were seeing things because they were told they were. I've never had trouble with the paranormal, and I always will believe there are such things as ghosts and demons. Thank you for reading. That was very strange.
Yes.
Very weird story.
So he mentioned, or the person mentioned, that it was dancing on the light pole.
Yeah.
Look to your left.
Look to my left.
Yes, your left.
Oh, you're trying to bait me?
No, the picture on your computer over there.
Oh.
She's dancing on
Oh
a
yeah,
on a
yeah,
light
that's
pole.
true. That's true. That is
Well,
true.
I'm not trying to bait you.
There's
Never mind, don't mention it.
all right. I will not be profiled. Quick,
Don't
quick.
make me choke on my jug water.
Your jug swill.
My jug squeal.
Yeah, no, I will not be. I'm doing my best not to be. It's going to be tough, though.
He's all.
I'm just saying. All right. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I did the wrong button.
Tick-tock.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot.
Oh, jeez.
What did I do? Okay. No, I guess. No, I did something wrong.
Oh, what'd you do?
I did something wrong.
So Lady Death took that picture of Anakin and Ben and Yoda, and she put your face on Anakin and my face on Yoda.
You guys are brutal. You're just brutal, I tell
Oh
you.
man.
Aye.
Yeah. See, I pay attention, lady.
All right. All right, I got to see where in the hell. This is different, so now I got to see what the hell's going on. The whole page format just changed,
Yeah.
and I don't like it. It makes me sad. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at now. Arg! Oh, it's frustrating as all hell.
It looks like Brent might need that eye patch there, Pix.
Arr.
Arr. Me in my room.
You know, I had to wear one for quite a while when I was young. Oh yeah, here I am. Okay, I'm on the right place. All right, I found it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm good now. Do you want to know the story?
But I got better.
I actually never, well, kind of did, but no, I really didn't. The story is that I was 12 years old in 6th grade, and a friend of mine invited me over to his house to hang out for his birthday. And kid was he's a decent kid. He was new to our school, but he and I got along okay. And so I was like, well, I knew he didn't have a lot of friends, so I went over and hung out with him. And the night of that Friday night, it was a Friday night, and I rode the bus to his house and got there, and we had a birthday celebration. And I know they lived in a trailer house, which was new to me. I'd never been in a trailer house before. So, but he got a BB gun for his 12th or 13th birthday. Sorry, hold on. And I just had to
Hold on, I got a snort.
I got a sniffle. So he got this, and we were plinking around with it, and it was kind of a fun night. He was a little different. Found out a lot more about the guy as the night went on. I was like, when do I go home? But no, I mean, he was a nice enough guy for all intents and purposes. But he was also not the sharpest pencil in the box. He's one of those kind of kids that does things and then thinks about it later.
Oh yeah.
So we went through the whole evening, stayed up late, probably till about midnight, and then we went to sleep. And I ended up sleeping on the couch or on the floor in his room, I don't remember which, and got up the next day, and we were 12, 13-year-old kids, so it was Saturday morning, and back then that was the only time you could ever catch cartoons. So we got up and started watching cartoons, and I sat in one chair with a bowl of cereal, and he sat in another chair in the living room with a bowl of cereal, and watching cartoons, and he says, "Hey." And so I turn and look, and I turn my head. He was sitting right here from me. Mm-hmm. I turn my head, and I look, and he's pointing this BB gun at me.
Oh, shh.
And I was like, I'm trying to be cool. Like, whatever, dude. Stop it. Knock it off. He's like, oh, you're a you're a MF or something, just being a dumb kid. And he wasn't really angry at me. He was just corking around. He pulls the trigger, and he had cocked it. And I'm sitting 5 feet away from him, and a BB went into my eye, into the back of my eye socket.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me this story. Yeah.
And it totally tore up the side of my eyeball, and I, to this day, have no peripheral vision. But I had to wear an eye patch for a long time. And,
that's where we were going.
And then over a period of time,
right.
The thing migrated out to just under that little pink skin in the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
And if I turned my eye that way, it'd be like a ball. And so we went to the doctor in Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and they had a specialist do the inpatient surgery, or just a day surgery or whatever, and they sliced it open, and blood was everywhere, and they used a magnet.
No.
And I swear to God, that magnet pulling that thing out was like
Oh God.
bolts of electricity going
Oh,
through my
God.
head.
Oh,
And they got it out of my head.
I don't
and
like problems with the eyes.
yeah, I didn't like it much either.
Oh God.
But all of the white of my eye was just all red. It never bled out like drippy blood, but it was like the whole white was just this glowing red color for.
Great. Now I'm gonna have nightmares.
I'm sorry, dude. But I just want to tell my eye patch story.
I'm sorry. Continue.
But that, yeah, I mean, that was the story. It's just I have worn an eye patch, is what I was going with.
Arg.
That. So now you all know a
Jesus.
little bit more about me. But yeah, just as
Brent's really the pirate here.
arg, yeah. So,
A bottle of yum.
but yeah, true story. Weird.
Wow.
But it happened. Nothing I can do about it. And since I was so young, I've never really missed the peripheral vision.
Yeah.
It's like, I hear when I'm walking next to a wall or when something's coming up. It's just your body adapts.
Right.
So
I bet you don't miss that kid either.
no, not much. In fact, that was pretty much the end of our friendship.
That's it. You're cut off.
Yeah. So yeah, very strange.
Wow.
Did you know, however, little piece of trivia, that they believe that pirates wore the eye patches in order to keep a night vision on one eye,
Right.
and then at night they would flip it around and they would see, really, really well in the dark.
Right.
So,
Yeah. There's another reason they wore eye patches too, right? Because those damn parrots on your shoulder will peck your damn eye out.
I suppose could be true.
Those things are mean as hell.
Yeah, it was a fashion statement, form over function. So anyway, yeah, a little. I don't know. I guess every once in a while I need to share little personal tidbits. So that's one of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm surprised you didn't just totally like turn around and blast him.
Yeah.
Before he proceeded to shoot you in the eyeball.
He was just going for reaction was what he was doing,
Right.
but he'd forgot he cocked it the night before.
Yeah.
We just literally sat down, started eating cereal, and he picked it up. It was leaning against the wall, and it was like thunk. And I was like, oh my God, if it didn't hurt so bad, I might have gone after him, but I was in absolute agony.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, it just hurt so bad.
Eyes are not fun. I know.
Yeah, you cut a rock in yours.
Yeah,
So.
I cut a rock. Yeah, it would have had kind of the same effect a BB would, I imagine.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was terrible.
Hit that viscous liquid and just float around in there.
Yeah, well, it never went actually into my eye. It tore up the side of my eye as it
gotcha.
rolled back.
Gotcha.
So it was really, I'm really very blessed in reality, because if it had been just a little bit over, he would have ruptured the whole eyeball.
There you go.
So it just entered at just the precise angle enough to cause damage, but
Kind
not.
of like an orbital lobotomy.
I never thought of it that way. Thank you, Don.
Always here to help, Brent.
I'm a pirate, and it's a mutiny.
Oh no. Oh, okay. I'm back already.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll continue here.
Oh goodness.
We'll continue, ladies and gentlemen, to more of the paranormal, fantastic, fun stories. All right, my most recent paranormal experience. This is one of the most terrifying things to have happened to me. Although after writing it and reading it, it doesn't sound as scary as I remember it. Anyway, here it is. We lived on the top floor of an old apartment building in a college town. The apartments have been here for many years, 40-ish years. They're dark, with dark carpet, long hallways, and no light fixtures in the bedrooms. Our bedroom is the largest and is at the end of a long hallway. My wife insists on sleeping with the door closed. Our bedroom is also the darkest room in the apartment. It has one window which overlooks the parking lot. Our bed sits in the middle of the floor. Wow. My wife sleeps on the window side, and I sleep on the closet side of the bed. And we sleep with the fan on to provide some white noise. And at night, our bedroom is even darker, with the blinds closed and the blackout curtains. A small amount of glow comes in from the parking lot street lamps. On this particular night, I woke up from a very sound sleep at around 2 a.m. The room was just barely illuminated, as usual, by the streetlights. The constant humming of the fan always plays tricks on my mind. I hear things. Faint voices, sometimes whispers, buzzing and popping, almost every night. I tell myself this is all in my head. I was lying in bed, half awake, trying to remember if my son had sent me his nightly text, and I reached him on the nightstand and picked up my phone. This time it was at just after 2 a.m., and I confirmed that he had texted me. I noticed the air in the bedroom was heavy. I was hearing whispers and the white noise again, babbling gibberish. While lying on my back, I had imagined seeing tiny little lights blinking on in the ceiling. These lights seemed to illuminate a human-looking face in the textured plaster. This had to be my imagination. For some reason, I suddenly felt scared and vulnerable, for lack of a better word. At this time, I rolled over and spooned my wife. She was lying on her right side, facing the window, holding her warm little body close to mine always comforts me. It sounds like it's
awesome.
getting steamy here. Hold on. Lying on my side, opened my eyes and immediately thought I could see something different about the window. I blinked hard and took another look, and I could distinctly make out a very tall, dark humanoid shape standing inside the bedroom in front of the window, partially obscured by the curtains. I was immediately terrified. I blinked again, and I took another look. My worst fears were confirmed as this figure sidestepped into the center of the window. Being slightly illuminated from behind, I could see it was dark, tall, large, with non-human and creating complete panic in the air. Thinking this was just ridiculous, I blinked again. I opened my eyes, and this time the monster was one step closer to the bed.
Oh, stop blinking.
Yeah, no kidding. Just stare. It was within 15 feet of me. I blinked again, and it was a step closer.
Yeah, you figure.
I started screaming and shaking my wife. She wouldn't wake up.
Oh.
Eey, that's creepy. It was now one step closer, and I was completely losing my crap. I shook my wife hard and screamed her name. Turn on the light, turn on the light, turn on the light, I screamed. It was standing right beside the bed now. She startled awake and turned on their bedside lamp. It instantly disappeared.
Ugh.
There was nothing there.
Ugh.
I was completely out of breath and gasping for air. My pulse was rapid. I was too terrified to be embarrassed. My hands were trembling, and she held me until I calmed down. I told her what I had seen, and she believed me. She always does. I've had similar things happen to me my entire life. Something has followed me from when I was a child. From the bedroom of my childhood home to my first apartment, my first house, and every home since then. This doesn't sound too bad now that I've reread it, but that night when it happened, I was a mess.
What? I got chills.
It was real.
I got chills listening to it. I'm like, one step close. Stop it.
I
Don't
know, yeah.
blink, dummy. Don't blink. You know it's coming close. Oh, there it is. Yep,
Yeah.
you blinked again, dummy.
Yeah, exactly. It's, closing your eyes and, having another stab at it, and
Yeah.
noticing it getting closer.
Yeah.
Put a flashlight next to your bed or something.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just, game over. Yeah, that would be horrid. That is a creepy story. I think that some of these beings, you understand that initially he felt the fear before he realized what was going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's some extrasensory thing that, if these, horrid creatures are around, that we can sense it long before we're actually aware of it. And that's just a early warning kind of thing. Or
Right.
do these beings radiate that
Yeah.
in order to make you weak?
Yeah.
Which
good point.
side is it? Is it a little of both? I don't know. But that's what I wonder about is the fear from him realizing it's there on some level, or is the fear from the being trying to make him vulnerable and weak?
Right.
Yeah.
Elicit that fight or flight response.
Right.
And
get
I'm
him-
pretty
get him-
sure they're rooting for the fright.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's already dealing with the sensation that this is something he knows is not physical. It's just standing there, and it, it's actually moving closer. Now that would just be horrid. I mean, the other stories that really bother me are the ones where people are kind of asleep, and then they feel like someone's there, and they open their eyes, and there's a face right in their face.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Oh my God, that would piss me off.
Was it the Storm of the Century or Rose Red? It was Rose Red. You ever see that TV or the TV adaptation of Rose Red by Stephen King?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's crazy. I fell asleep watching. I woke up just as she was coming, and I was laying on a couch. And there's this one scene where she comes up over the couch, and I'm like, click, turn channel.
I'm done. I'm all done.
Bad
done
memories, man. Bad memories.
now. Yeah. I don't know. It's a horrid idea.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And it's the shock value. It's the startling and trying to make you feel vulnerable. And once you feel vulnerable, and once you feel that fear, then you've already surrendered to a degree.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really important to reclaim yourself. Reclaim your courage. Even if you don't really feel it, you have to reclaim it. You got to grab.
Yeah.
You got to grab it
So-
because it's only going to go downhill quick if you don't.
yeah, yeah. Ken says it was a dull film. Well, when you fall asleep and wake up to that one spot because you hear it whispering in your ear, it's pretty damn scary, Ken.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. And Matt, hey Matt, how you doing? Who else is here?
Goodness.
LGD,
Yeah.
Matt, Pixie,
Kurt Singer. Kurt's here.
Kurt's here,
Yeah,
all right.
Kurt came
Renee.
to see us again.
Renee's in here,
Yeah,
Randy's
Randy,
here.
Randy, yep.
Gotta
yep.
love her.
Yep.
Love you all. Thank you guys.
God,
I'm just
yeah.
looking for any other names that have popped up in the
Lewis,
chat.
don't forget Lewis.
Lewis. Good
Yep.
to see you, Lewis. And Lady Death, of course. We love you. And if you want to get a shout out, just make sure you shout out in chat and we'll greet you accordingly.
Absolutely.
So
Hi, Danielle.
hi Danielle.
Hey, did you miss the picture that you posted? We talked about that a little bit.
That's kind of vague. I don't know
No, I was
exactly.
talking to Danielle about the picture.
Oh, the picture. Okay.
It's not vague.
I thought you were talking to me. I was like, what picture? What are you talking about? No, yeah, very, very, very good picture. Thank you, Danielle, for putting that on the site, and thank you for all your help on the site.
Yeah.
I really can't tell you how much I appreciate that because I'm just getting overwhelmed. So, all that you do really makes a difference and makes for a better experience on our Facebook and social media. So, Danielle, you're the bestest. Thank you. Love you bunches. So let's continue
Continue, yes, please.
this journey through the paranormal. But yeah, that was a creepy story. He says my most recent. That was the title. My most recent paranormal experience. It's like I don't know. That'd be horrid. This one sounds kind of cool, and I don't know what I'm going to be reading here, but it's witchcraft in my backyard.
Oh,
Huh. When I was 17, I got pretty close with one of my older relatives, Kevin, who was 42 back then. Kevin at that played the role of my spiritual advisor as he was an expert in this area. He was an expert, Don.
someone who knows more and more about less and less, who knows absolutely everything about absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Yes.
He could tell things that he's not supposed to. One day he told me that there's something buried in my house backyard that's been causing issues to my family. I was confused and I was confused and spectacle. I don't know what that means. I imagine
Huh.
I was confused and spectacle, but I blindly trusted this guy.
Maybe skeptical.
Skeptical. Thank you.
Yeah,
That was
skeptical.
Yeah, it must be an autocorrect or something. So I went ahead to dig there, but wait, it's kind of a big area to dig for something that I don't know what it looks like. But Kevin told me that you would sense it once you started digging. So I went there with an old rusty gardening knife. I dug, and the most disgusting thing appears. It didn't look disgusting, but it just felt like it. I felt super nauseous, and as I was picking it up to check. It was what looks like a cut corner of a plastic bag filled with dirt, and inside it, one knotted string and two hairs.
Oops.
Mom and Dad's. Why does it say Mom and Dad's? I don't get it. When I found it, every dramatic scenery in my childhood made sense. Before his death, my mom and dad were always fighting, never slept in the same room, not even on the same floor. And now I saw their relationship going nowhere, or going anywhere, but of course they kept living in the same house until death tore them apart. I got myself together and proceeded with the digging, and to my surprise, I found another disgusting thing in the same backyard. It was the weirdest looking bone. I don't know what does it belong to. The bone. Why is it linked? I'm not sure what it's linking to. Let me see.
Don't open weird links.
Let's-
Oh, that's a picture of the bone.
It's a picture
and
of
that
the
is a
bone.
backbone.
It does look like a vertebrae, yeah.
Yes.
Huh. But it looks like a bird. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Oh.
I'll put it up on the screen. We'll go to 3 panels so you
There you
guys
go.
can see what this bone looks like. I'm not a physiologist of any kind, so I don't know what the hell it is. But you're right. It does look like a backbone or some kind of
Yeah, craziness.
a vertebrae. I'm on the wrong page. Where am I looking here? Here I am. Okay. So I got myself together, proceeded with the digging, and to my surprise, I found another disgusting thing. I'm just rereading up to the point that I'm at. In the same yard, it was the weirdest looking bone, and I don't know what it belong to. The bone, I pick it up, and I hide it in my back pocket. And I go to the rooftop to recite some whole verses, I think holy verses, on it, and I pitch it through to the farthest that I could. Keep in mind that I had my period at that time, and it usually sits for a maximum of 5 days. That month it stayed for a whole 40 days. Heavy flow nonstop. I don't know if this is related, but what a weird coincidence. I don't know.
Coincidence. I think she said it right there. Coincidence.
I don't know. I mean, if it's an unusual flow and she just found all this supernatural,
Dim bones, dim.
I don't know, fragments, I guess.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it does sound like it might be. Yes.
Matt, I don't think it's a funny bone.
It's not funny at all, Matt. 40 days is not funny.
40 days and 40 nights. Huh.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I wonder if there's any biblical connections there.
I don't know.
Well, she did say holy prayers. Well,
Yeah,
she said
Whole.
whole prayers.
Yeah, she wasn't real much big on typing, apparently, but yeah, that's very strange. I'm not sure what that bone would belong to.
Yes, Matt, that was TMI.
We believe in being open in the portal.
Hey, Brandy, how are you? Nice to see you.
Nice.
Hi, Taz.
Hey, Brandy.
Oh, look,
Taz.
we're getting some new ones coming in.
Fantastic. Thanks,
About
guys, for
time.
being
Don't
here.
forget to hit that like.
Absolutely. Like us.
You love us. Love us.
You really love us. I wish there was a love button,
Yeah.
and you could push that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not being weird, Don. I'm sorry.
Go ahead and push my love button.
Oh, no, you did go right there, didn't you? Oh, yeah. All right. So, with a big snortle of swill.
Oh, shadow figures watching.
This
you.
is part
Ooh.
1 and 2, I guess. So let me read part 1 first.
Yeah, no doubt.
Shadow figures watch me sleep. How
Just
big
don't
is this?
blink.
Okay, this isn't so bad. This is my first shot at this, written on a cell phone. Oh, wow. That's pretty ambitious. I've had a few run-ins with the paranormal, and this one was way different. I had just gotten out of my training and was shipped to my first duty assignment. I was living in the barracks for a while until a good friend of mine and I decided to move into an apartment away from the military post. A few months go by, and he basically just moves out without saying anything, leaving me with all the bills. It was a struggle, but I knew I could make it happen. I had to. He took all of his things, and I was left with a TV, a small end table, and my air mattress. I didn't see any point of buying anything else because I was deployed at the end of the year, and I started to sleep in the living room instead of the bedroom because the TV was out there. The hallway was near the head of the air mattress, and I always left the dim light on so I could see when I got up in the morning. After a few weeks of that, I started to get an uneasy feeling in my apartment. Along with dealing with depression, financial issues, and the idea of deployment, you could say I was in a tough place, mentally anyways. When I was a kid, I had always heard of sleep paralysis and how scary it is. I never really cared. I figured they were just kidding. I never thought it would happen to me, but boy, I was wrong. It was a normal night. I put on a movie, Benchwarmers to be exact. I fell asleep. The TV had a sleep timer on it and turned itself off like normal. I had a terrible nightmare. I can't remember what it was about exactly. I just remember the horrible feelings I had from it. It woke me up. Well, kind of. I was awake, but I couldn't move. And I felt as if I had sunk into the bed, and the only thing that wasn't swallowed was my head. Like any other person would have, I tried to yell for help, even knowing I lived alone. I was hoping and praying someone would hear me. No such luck. Making small noises because I couldn't yell, I kept fighting until I was able to open my eyes. And when I did, I felt pure terror. All I could see was a black figure standing in my hallway. It didn't do anything except stand there. I still wasn't able to move, and all I could do was look in fear. I could feel it looking at me, even though it didn't have any facial features. After what felt like an eternity, it just kind of faded away, almost like it walked backwards into the other bedroom. And that's when I slowly gained control and was able to move. My instincts told me to get the hell out of the apartment, but I knew I had to do something. I ran through my apartment, turning on all the lights as fast as I could. Finally, I got to the bedroom, and I crept over to the door, peeked through the crack. I grabbed the handle and pulled it close. I hung a cross on the door, and I packed up a few things for the next day and left as fast as I could. I went to work like normal and felt like I was going completely insane, so I didn't mention it to anyone, and when I got back home, I can honestly say that I was almost too afraid to go inside. I nutted up and hauled ass up the stairs, basically kicked open the door because it was now or never kind of thing for me. I walked in, closed the door, and everything seemed normal. Nothing was out of place, and I went about my day like it didn't happen. Falling asleep that night wasn't easy, but I eventually did, and I had a feeling this wasn't the last time I would experience something like this. And then he's going to part 2 here, so let me get to part 2. All right, here it comes. After the first time I had sleep paralysis and saw this shadow man, that's what I call it, everything seemingly went back to normal. I went to work, I came home, slept okay, no problem. It went on like this for a short while. About 3 weeks after the first time I saw it, again, except I was wide awake this time. I was sitting on my bed watching a movie, relaxing after a hard day's work, and I got the feeling that I wasn't alone. So I slowly looked around the room, and there it was, standing in the hallway, again, but a few feet closer this time. I was frozen with fear. I didn't know what to do at that point. I stayed up the whole night looking around the room. That morning, I couldn't wait to go to work. Jumping ahead a few months, I had almost gotten used to seeing it every once in a while. Of course, it still scared me half to death for a second, but I eventually got sick of it creeping me out, so one night I yelled at it, "Leave me alone, I live here, go away," or something along those lines. Maybe some other choice words. And after I passed out, woke up, left the house to run some errands, and when I got home, it was a different story this time. All of my stuff had been moved around, cabinets were opened in the kitchen. Basically everything moved or destroyed. This was the end of my rope. I packed up my things and headed to the barracks. I was deploying in a week, so I didn't care much. Jumping forward once again, after a year-long deployment, I finally returned home, physically unharmed for the most part, mentally scarred.
Scarred, yeah, mentally scarred.
Scarred. My deployment was rough. I ended up living in the barracks for a short while, maybe a week or two, and I eventually went back to the same apartment complex, but a different building. I felt okay in this one. The depression had become worse, along with the PTSD from combat. I ended up in an even worse place than before I'd left. My friends kept going through, and they made me come out with them pretty often, and I ended up meeting someone. She was great. The first time I invited her to my apartment to have a movie night, she got to the door and refused to come in. She told me it wasn't anything I did. It was that she could feel things, hear things, and sometimes see things. She told me that my apartment wasn't safe and that I shouldn't go in. The way she said it, the fear in her eyes, I could practically see her heart beating out of her chest. I decided to take her home, and she said a prayer for me. Again, I guess there's possibly more, but I don't know.
Huh.
That might be it. Yeah, I guess it is that. There's 2 parts of that, but apparently there was more to tell, but he opted to go for a popularity contest. If you want to hear more, let me know. Okay, this one's called Book Strangeness. This may have a logical explanation, and I was sitting in my living room and noticed a large book on the bookshelf was turned upside down. I am OCD about things like that. My son had company, and they like to play little tricks on me, so I thought one of them turned the book upside down. My daughter entered the room, sat on the love seat next to the sofa, and we spoke for a few minutes. She left the room, and I got up to leave the room, walked to the bookshelf to turn the book right side up, and it was already right side up. It was light in the room, no one else but me and her for about 5 minutes when this happened. She said I was micro-dreaming, but I was awake, and I know what I saw.
Oh, micro-dreaming. That's just another fancy word for
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But now the interesting thing is could that possibly be a case of him manifesting that? In other words, manifesting the correct version in his, by thinking about it and obsessing about
Right.
it, was he on some level recreating it so it was right?
Or was it deja vu in the Matrix?
Well, yeah.
You know, it
I don't know if
you
you-
know, I know that I've looked up before and noticed something askew or something and looked back again. And I think it's, for me, it would be, perspective. You know, your perspective on the item. Now, a book upside down would drive me nuts too. But, um, it's I don't know if it would be paranormal in my world.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's one of those accounts that's it's very it's very marginal as far as importance. I mean,
Right,
would a
right.
spirit waste its energy to turn a book, or is that its friendly way of saying, "Hey, I'm here. Didn't want to shock you, but I'm
Right.
here," and that would be a subtle way to make a presence known.
Right.
But is there also, I really believe that on a very fundamental level, we create reality.
Yes.
Not just figuratively, like, if you're happy, then, happy things will happen because that's what you're putting out. I mean, very, very specifically, like we create, on a very fundamental level, the reality that we live in.
Sure.
So,
Well, you've heard me say many times that I speak my reality. It's
Right.
one of those things that, if I feel like I'm getting sick, I don't tell myself, "Oh, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick."
Right.
I'm going to say, I just ignore it and not get sick. That's just, and that's just one example of, speaking myself. But then again, here we are talking about how we want the portal to be more successful and how we would, and so this is speaking our reality.
sure, absolutely.
It's happening. It's slow, but it's happening.
Yeah, it
you
is.
know and so that's, so yeah, speaking yourself into a reality is perfectly legit in my realm.
Right, and I think that's very profoundly true, and that's another way of, I mean, there's a lot of ways of explaining the same thing,
Right.
and that's definitely the case where you are right. You speak your reality and you're vibrating it out
yeah.
into the physical plane, and it becomes your reality,
Right.
even on a very subtle level at first, and by by believing in it and by turning it on. That's really cool. I feel a real energy rush. Huh. Wow. Very profound. Time to grab me something. All right. But yeah, I think that could very well be what happened in that book incident, is that it's possible that it was created. It's possible there's an entity there doing it, and again, doing it in such a way as to not cause alarm, but little subtle things. And ladies and gentlemen, I really believe that in most cases we're in the presence of spiritual beings all of the time. I really believe that. I think that we are really only capable of perceiving a small portion of what is reality. And this can be validated scientifically as well, because we certainly know that there are sounds going on that are far below our ability to hear them. And we know there are sounds that occur that are far above our ability to hear them.
Right.
In other words, their frequency range is not within our ability to perceive it. So these things are going on all the time, and we are not aware of them. And visually, we are able to see a very specific spectrum of the lights.
Right. Right.
There are many, there are many further extensions of those spectrums that we just simply cannot perceive.
Right.
We cannot physically perceive it. We cannot physically hear. We cannot physically see. And would the same be possible then for the ability to touch? Does the matter that we can participate with on a physical level, is it in a certain range of frequency?
Mm-hmm.
And there are more higher and lower ranges of those frequencies that we are not capable physically of interacting with.
Right. MCAT says, I think it has something to do with the observer principle of quantum mechanics, which is simply stating basically, and this is just in simple terms, that it's not really there until you actually look at it. You have to be observing it for it to actually be manifest. Anything in your peripheral vision is not really there. It's just the perception that you have. But it's not, you're not real until I look at you.
Right.
You know, you're not physical until I look at you. My computer screen is not physical until I look at it. So that's basically the observer theory there. And,
Right.
you know, that's quite possible. I mean, you know, it's like when he was blinking and the shadow person was getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every time you blink, you stop observing it.
Right.
So, you know, and that perception creeps in. So, yeah.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good points. But I think that we live in this really dynamic situation where we only have a window
Right.
of what
A
happens
very
here.
narrow window.
Right. And so, the idea of there being spirits or being, other things that we can't normally perceive, but maybe they can change their existence, their reality enough to be seen by us.
Right.
And there are those people that can, that claim that they can see spirits, and I believe they can.
Right.
I believe there are people out there that can do it, and perhaps there's something, fundamentally different in their physiological makeup, or maybe it's just a matter of, them having the energetic ability to do so. I don't know. But
And I just read that Dory and Pixie are talking about weird noises in their head. I read what Pixie said. She gets, I get all kinds of weird noises in my head, and then Dory says, "Me too." Different from tinnitus. And right before that, I was gonna say, you know what I notice when I come here and I put the headphones on? All that noise stops.
Right.
I don't have the ringing in my ears.
Nice.
I don't,
Very
I
true.
don't have those distractions. So yeah, I wonder if there's something like that.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Ooh, bacon fajitas.
And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. That was a totally Homer Simpson moment you had there.
Well, it's because Lady Death says I want bacon, and right after it, Dory says, "Yeah, 3 fajitas." I'm like, wow, wow.
Welcome back, Don.
Hey, you're welcome.
Did you eat tonight?
I did, yes. As a matter of fact, I had barbecued ribs.
Oh, you did not.
I told you the roommates wanted barbecue.
That's not even fair.
And they were those thick, meaty ones.
You just keep
Oh,
going.
God, yeah, it was like half a.
I'm sorry, what was that? I'm sorry, Don, what was that? I can't hear you.
I see. I got you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, bologna fajitas? Are you insane, Brandy? I try it.
She might be able to be onto something.
I saw a recipe for a bologna cake the other day with like this Uncle Dan's like ranch mixed in with cream cheese, and it's layered in between
Oh, God.
bologna and then they cut it and they spread it on a cracker.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, spam sandwich. Oh, spam sandwiches are awesome. Okay, anyhow, let's get back to the amazing.
And if this was Food Network, we could continue.
Yeah.
All right. I saw myself.
Pixie says Don probably had a meat pacifier as a baby.
It was a ham bone.
It was a ham bone. Thank you.
Oh, my God. A meat pacifier.
Ham bone.
One night I was sitting in the dining room on my phone, and I haven't left that spot at all since I sat there. And I hear my mom calling me to her room. So I get up and walk on over there. And once I get there, she asks why I stuck my head in her room and then run down the hall. And I told her I haven't been in the dining room the whole time, or I have been in the dining room the whole time. She said she and her boyfriend swore it was me. Ever since then, I've been seeing stuff in the hallways and in my room, hearing noises as well, especially in my room, and that's where everything always happened. Everyone was scared to be left alone in my room. I never seen this ghost who took the image of me, but she looked exactly like me, but didn't dress like me. Till one night, I was showering. I got out, got dressed, then I opened the bathroom door, and she was sitting right there in front of me, like she was waiting for me. I got so scared, I shut the door and waited a while. I was freaked out. I saw myself. I will never forget it. So I finally opened the door and started checking if she was gone. And I didn't see her, so I ran to my mom's room and told her what had happened.
Wow.
That would be horribly...
Seeing your own doppelganger.
Yeah.
Don't they say, we talked about this just
Premonition
recently
of
too.
death, yeah.
Premonitions of death, yeah.
Yeah. And this was posted a year ago, so I don't know what happened to this person, but I hope all is well. There's the doppelganger phenomenon is very well documented. Many people have experienced their doppelgangers or seeing doppelgangers of other family members.
Oh, sure enough, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
your dad will pass you in the hall, and then you go down to the kitchen, and there he is. you know?
Yes, GARS. Yes,
Yeah.
GARS.
Yep. So very strange. I don't know what to say about all of that. What is the purpose? And it could be just that if, something is there and is manifest in some level, maybe it takes on that persona so as not to cause alarm. And, I guess that's all good and fine, except for the fact that you do realize at some point, most often people realize at some point that they saw something that shouldn't have been there.
Right.
The But
thing
I guess
that
it's
should
better
not
to
be.
think about it in hindsight than to see it and go, oh no.
Right.
Maybe it's a little less terrifying. I don't know. Very cool story though. I like that one. Knocking. This one is called Knocking.
And a rap tap tapping upon my door.
I suppose we should talk about just a minute too
Oh.
about what's coming up this weekend.
You
on the
know,
portal.
yeah, we got another busy weekend, don't we?
We got a really busy weekend this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say that on Friday, the 22nd, we will be joined by none other than Duncan Campbell,
Duncan Campbell.
who will be on to discuss, I'm sure we'll discuss a whole lot of things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've just been saying the paranormal and the cabal.
You know what I'd really like to pin him down about, especially now? The SSP, the Secret Space Program,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah,
there
the
is so
Space
much
Force.
going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I talked to Nina, his significant other, and she said he's totally amped about this whole Space Force thing.
Oh God, we got to nail
Yeah.
him for it. That's perfect for the show.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely get into that, ladies and gentlemen. But if you haven't caught Duncan on the show before,
God,
or
yeah.
caught him on one of the other many shows he's on,
Font of information.
he's a regular on Chris Everard show, the Enigma channel. That'll be a great opportunity. But in between now and then, check out those shows of the Portal when he's appeared, if you haven't already.
Yes.
Then following that on the 23rd, which is Saturday evening, we'll have Linda Godfrey this weekend talking about the Dog Man.
That's right.
And that should be another amazing interview as well. I'm really excited to have an opportunity to talk with Linda, another amazing researcher in a field that it's tough to find a lot of information on. I mean, there's a lot of information out there, but it's it's usually owned by somebody. So it'll be great to have the ability to have her on the show and pick her brain.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
see what she thinks about what's going on and to hear her reflections on it. And then, of course, ending the month, as it's listed now, we're going to have on the 29th,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have Chris Everard himself, Mr. Enigma TV, Enigma Channel, Mr. Enigma, the Enigma himself, Mr. Christopher Everard will be on, and we'll be discussing the Ouija board and probably a whole bunch of other things that Chris wants to
And
discuss.
you can bet I can be watching. I'm gonna watch the planchette up there every time we talk about it too.
Well, like I said, it's glued. So,
Mhm.
well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not glued. It's adhesively stuck to the board. So
Adhesively stuck. Yeah.
now they do say that it's not a good idea to leave the planchette on the board.
Yeah, especially right in the center of the board.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Leave it on goodbye.
leave it on
Can we
goodbye.
fix that? Yeah, we can even tune the word Ouija up, so it's read correctly. Now you're freaking me out again.
Oh, well, Don, just remember I live here. So
yeah, well,
you get to
yeah.
go home. So,
Yeah.
but no, I don't. Like I said, I made sure to seal it as well. So, all right. So continuing on, this is the knocking. I was in bed, I was in bed. I don't remember if I was asleep or just laying there, and I began to hear knocking on my window. Let me say my bed is next to the window, but my head isn't in front of it. It's beside it. And it's late at night. Everyone in the house is sound asleep. So the knocking started, and I was getting scared. I didn't know what to do. I hid under the blankets.
Yeah.
Those darn blankets. I kept on knocking. So I just ran out and woke up my mom and dad and told them. My dad went outside and checked to see if anyone was out there, and he saw nothing. He told me I was just hearing stuff, and he went back to sleep. And I went back to bed. I laid there trying to go to sleep. Then it started knocking on my window again. I went under the blankets and shut my eyes, and the knocking started to move from the window to the wall, going closer and closer to where my head is at.
Ooh.
I swear it didn't stop till I fell asleep. It has been doing that on and off till we moved out, and I never knew why. and what it was.
Why would you like lay there and fall asleep even though you know there's something
I know.
tapping upon your door?
I think those kind of the situations where it's okay to sleep on mom and dad's floor for a night. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Mom, Dad, what's that noise?
Yeah, what's? Oh no. I think there's a lot to be said for some propriety. I'm just saying.
Renee says, I like your interviews, but these stories are much more fascinating, exciting, and intriguing. I'm always glued to my television screen.
Oh.
Well, we appreciate that, but don't be glued after the show because it's called a program for a reason. Oh.
On television?
Yeah.
Are we on a television screen?
Well, she's Renee says, well, I don't know. Maybe she, oh, you know what? Probably like Roku or something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prime,
Well, that's cool.
Prime would be cool.
I think it's fun to
Roku.
be on TV, actually. It's kind of exciting.
Well, you can YouTube on Roku, so.
Yeah. No, I know. My minion does it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm telling you. 2+ years of nursery rhymes.
And the wheels on the bus go round,
That damn bus. I'm telling you.
round.
I know it's cute and it's adorable, but
No,
man,
it's not.
I'm looking forward to when he progresses to something a little more.
I love you. You
Oh,
love
no.
me.
Barney is outlawed. I have never allowed Barney ever. There was no way in hell I was ever gonna be putting up with Barney. It's a cute show and all that, but it was so insipid that there's no way. I think your IQ goes down by watching it. It might give learning disabilities. All right, so the next one is, ooh, this one's kind of creepy.
Oh.
My rosary was thrown across the room.
Oh, not good.
We moved into a new house, and the first night is never easy. Having to get used to being in a new place, new room. All right, well, this is about my rosary necklace I wore every day. So my first night in my new living room, or my new room, I was in bed and everything was normal. I had my necklace on and I never took it off unless I was showering. I fell asleep, woke up the next day and started unpacking some stuff and I didn't get to the day before. And I was putting it away and then cleaning and picking up trash when I noticed something in the corner of my room. It was my rosary. I didn't notice I wasn't wearing it today. I never took it off. It was broken, the hook thing.
Ooh.
Something must have torn it off my neck and threw it across the room last night. It was strange.
You know what? No. Do you know how many times you wake up at night without really waking up and do things, strange things? It could have been, she could have been, or the person could have been, it may have been like irritating their neck and they just threw it away. I mean, how easy is that? Hey, Sean, how you doing, buddy?
It's very possible. You're absolutely right. And it's possible. But
It's like you wake up choking to death because you swallowed a spider.
yeah, you never know.
I swear it was reaching down.
You
my
know, they
throat
say
to pull my lungs out.
that every year we eat a certain amount of spiders.
We average like 30 spiders.
Yeah, that we're eating spiders when we're sleeping. I tell you, I can wake up in the morning and it smells like something's been camping, in there. You got that film on your teeth. It's like, whoa! I just about run to the bathroom. No,
I got a brush.
I know. Brush, floss, gargle. Ugh. So yeah, I don't know, but it's very possible. And when they were unpacking stuff, it could have gotten hung up on something, a box as they were lifting or hoisting, and they could have pulled the locket off or the rosary off as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's very possible there was a more mundane explanation, but it's not nearly as much fun to ponder that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I'm sorry to burst the bubble on that one.
Well, I mean, it's plausible. It's probably more probable that they did it in a more mundane way,
Right.
but it's not impossible that
Well, that's true.
the rosary was ripped off the neck by something that didn't like it. But if that's the only story they have to tell, then I would say it's probably was broken by something,
Right.
just some kind of action they
A
did.
mundane thing.
Yeah, because if if something is going to ramp up and use that kind of power right away, pulling a religious object off of you,
Yeah.
then that's just like step one of a whole chain of events that would be happening after that, in my opinion.
Well, and especially when they start off the story with one night I was alone at my home.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So how long ago was that? A year ago, and nothing's happened since.
Well, yeah.
Come on, come on.
Very true. It got angry. One night I was all alone and I was in my room just sitting there angry. I've been waiting on my mom for hours because she promised to take me somewhere.
Oh.
And I texted her many times and finally I got a reply. She said she'd take me tomorrow. After I read that, I got angrier. I turned my stereo on blast and I was sitting there and I heard something in my room get angry. I don't quite remember if I heard it by my ear or the whole room. Once I heard whatever it was, I turned off my stereo and said, "I'm sorry." What was it? It happened. What was it? It happened when I was in high school. I know you're not supposed to have negative energy. That's a weird close to the story. I don't quite understand that.
Sure enough. However, well, shadow people supposedly subsist on negative and angry and those feelings.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it was just reacting to her.
But we don't even know what it did. She just
Oh,
heard,
that's true.
this person heard something,
Well,
but he or she doesn't say what that is.
now you're debunking me.
No, I'm not. Oh,
No,
it's
I understand.
somebody in the comments below said you created a poltergeist. Laugh out loud, maybe. Well, it's possible. If this is a pubescent girl, then that's certainly a plausible explanation, I guess. That there seems to be a real correlation between pubescent girls and poltergeists. That
Carol Ann.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So very strange. All right. So continuing on. I'm sorry. Did you have things you wanted to read, Don?
Yeah, I could certainly read something. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Are you ready now, or are you?
Yeah,
want a
let's
minute?
do it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here. So, villagers say a ghost killed 10 healthy men.
Ooh.
Villagers in Thang Sengwan in Thailand claimed in 2013 a ghost was responsible for the deaths of 10 men. The men had all been perfectly healthy but suddenly died. A medium told them that the men were killed by a vengeful apparition known as the widow ghost, who was attracted to homes with only one son. To get her to stay away, the medium advised it hanging a red shirt outside the home. Red shirt.
A red
Okay.
shirt.
Well, sure. Yeah. Okay, whatever. The Cursed Grave of Carl Pruitt. Not Dan Pruitt.
Wonder if he's related.
I don't know. Dory might be able to tell us. This old ghost story hails from Pulaski County, Kentucky, and the cursed grave of Carl Pruitt. Pruitt returned to his home in 1938 to find his wife in bed with another man. He strangled her to death with a chain and then killed himself.
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, probably.
Like I've heard it's like on a ghost show or something. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Carry on. The man he caught her with ran away as Pruitt was strangling his wife. Pruitt was buried apart from his wife in a completely different cemetery. Over time, people began to notice that his grave was growing discolored, making an impression of a chain. One day, a group of boys came across Pruitt's odd grave. One of them tossed a rock in the grave and damaged it. On his way home, his bicycle chain snapped, wrapped around his neck, and strangled him. The boy's mother later damaged the tombstone with an axe, only to be strangled with a clothesline that came loose while she was hanging laundry.
Oh my God.
The legend doesn't end there, but continues with two policemen and another man who were also weirdly strangled by various objects after visiting the cursed grave. Strange, but apparently true. The ghost in the hole. If you were particularly bad while incarcerated at Alcatraz, oh, here we go, they might put you in the hole. The cells in the holes were lit with one dull bulb, and contained no furniture. Prisoners lived there alone, mostly on bread and water, and a full meal only every 3 days. The maximum amount of time a person could remain in the hole at one time was 19 days. One inmate was locked in the hole and began to scream that he was not alone, but in the company of a beast with glowing eyes. His cries were ignored and eventually they stopped. In the morning, they found the man had been strangled. While some assume a guard did it to put an end to the screaming, others believe that the inmate was killed by a ghost rumored to haunt the jail. Some guards said that they saw a recently deceased inmate appear for a routine count, only to vanish moments later. Wow, okay. Hadn't heard that one.
Nope.
I've heard a lot of Alcatraz type stories, so wow. The Bell Witch. John Bell and his family settled in Robertson County, Tennessee in the 1800s. Bell claimed to see a dog with the head of a rabbit, and the Bell kids claimed that some spirit was pulling their bedding away at night while rats chewed at the beds themselves. The family claimed to hear a woman's voice singing and reciting sermons and hymns. Even General Andrew Jackson visited the house, only to encounter some kind of spirit that temporarily stalled his horses. The ghost tormented Bell's youngest daughter until she broke off her engagement with a man the ghost did not fancy. And the ghost was ultimately blamed for Bell's declining health and subsequent death via poison that was discovered in the home's cabinets. Back then, there was a lot of things that will kill you in your cabinets. Nowadays, people like to blame the Bell Witch, a name reportedly given to the entity by Jackson for various paranormal phenomena in the area, such as unexplained voices and lights. The Hammersmith ghost murder. In the early 1800s, a number of people in Hammersmith, a neighborhood in London, claimed that a vicious ghost had attacked them. The ghost was widely believed to be a restless spirit of a person that had killed themselves prior to the alleged attacks. The residents decided to set up an armed patrol to guard the area. One night, Francis Smith, 29, was sure he saw the spirit, a ghostly figure in white. He shot the ghost and killed it. However, it turned out to be a plasterer named Thomas Millwood.
Wow.
A witness testified in a subsequent trial that she had warned Millwood that all his white plasterer's dress could be mistaken for a ghost. Smith was ultimately convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to a year of hard labor. Gosh,
Poor
that just
guy.
sucks. Later, an old man admitted that he had been donning a white sheet and pretending to be a ghost to scare his apprentice, who had been tormenting his grandchildren with scary stories. Oh well, crap! Stay away from us.
Yeah.
We torment everybody with our stories.
But they
Okay.
keep coming back, Don. They keep coming
They
back.
do. A yes, no doubt. A man stabbed himself in a famous murder house. Robert Larson, 37, was staying at Villisca Axe Murder House
geez, yeah.
in November 2014, conducting a paranormal investigation. During his visit, he stabbed himself in the chest at about 1 a.m. Though Larson survived, it's unclear why he harmed himself. Yet the Villisca home's early history is even stranger. In July of 1912, someone killed a couple that lived there, their 4 children, and 2 other children who were staying the night with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
The murder was never solved. The house can be rented for a night, and many visitors claim to have had ghostly encounters, though Larson's self-injury was the first of its kind. He declined to comment on his actions after recovering. Yeah, I would too. I'm like, oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Nope.
That's strange.
That is strange.
You gotta wonder if he wasn't just doing some kind of really bold self-promotion, like, you know.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
But to stab yourself in the chest.
No,
I mean,
people don't do that.
there's
What are you talking about? Nobody does that stuff. That's insanity.
yeah, yeah. That's it's a. I suppose to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
Doing whatever you do, it's an important motivator. But my God, you don't know if you're going to live through a stab wound. You have no way of knowing that
You know
because
what?
so
Yeah.
many things can go wrong.
It's a toss-up. Do I want to get shot and take a flesh wound, or do I want to get stabbed and take a flesh wound? I don't know. How sharp is that knife?
Yeah, well,
God.
And the problem with a knife is that it certainly doesn't go in like a bullet. Like a bullet goes in, it's like getting punched at first.
Yeah.
And then it's this deeper burning, that occurs or
Right.
or whatever. But a stab is,
God, agonizing.
Yeah, and have you ever tried to pull a blade out of you?
No, unfortunately, I've been slashed, not stabbed.
I've stabbed my own hand with
Oh God.
with an X-Acto knife. I was trying to carve wood, and I did the stupid, you never do it. You never carve towards your own hand.
Oh yeah.
I did, and I'm here to tell you, there's like a weird suction in the human body when there's a blade in it, because I was pulling on that thing, and it was like my skin was stretching out as I'm trying to get this blade out. So I don't know.
Well, the human body actually does has a slight vacuum to it. It's part of what like when something gets its abdomen cut open, the guts don't necessarily just fall out; they're kind of pushed out because there is pressure inside the body, but it's usually pushing out, not trying to suck it in.
Right. Yeah.
But I've unfortunately been shot before, and it was painful.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I haven't been stabbed, but yes, I've done the same thing. I've cut the fingertips of my fingers off with X-Acto blades, and been, oh my God, we gotta go to the hospital. No, just give me the crazy glue over there. We'll be okay.
I routed the top of my middle finger on my left hand off.
Oh wow,
That's it's
nice.
a little bit shorter.
Oh man, one time I was working on my Jeep. And there was this girl standing behind me. We were dating at the time, and the motor was running, and I had it all done, and I was just kind of dinking around underneath the checking water and this kind of stuff, and I actually hit the fan blade just enough, but she heard it, and I did what I did. I jumped up. I'm like, oh my God!
Oh no!
She beat the hell out of me.
Yeah, you had that coming. You really did.
Oh, okay. It was friggin' hilarious.
It was you just signed yourself up for testicle soccer.
Oh wow.
That's not even nice.
The Curse of the Crying Boy.
Yeah.
The Crying Boy is a painting of, a crying boy.
Oh yeah.
According to The Sun, a British tabloid not necessarily known for being the most reputable firefighters were claiming known for being the most reputable firefighting. Okay, so according to The Sun, firefighters were claiming to find several crying boy paintings completely unharmed within homes that had been otherwise destroyed. Oh, I remember reading this before. While some claim that the painting came with some kind of pyro curse, a more reasonable explanation could be that the paintings had been slathered in fire-repellent varnish. An even more reasonable explanation could be that the Sun is well known for coming up with curses and far-fetched tales. Well, there you have it.
You have it.
Gosh, this has to be a Icelandic word. Do not mess with the Bjortorp Ruinstone. Bjortorp.
Say it again, Dan. Say it again.
Bjortorp. It's BJ.
That's the sound you make when you fall down the stairs, isn't it?
Oh no. Okay. Anyhow, it's in Sweden. Okay, so okay, Swedish chef, settle down. In Belgien, Sweden, there is a large runestone in a field. One of the ruins very clearly states that anyone who tries to break the monument will be incessantly plagued by malfeasance, doomed to insidious death. Some have suggested that the stone is a grave or a monument, while others have guessed that it marks a border or exists as a shrine to an ancient god. A rumor persists that one man tried to remove the stone by first setting it ablaze, then pouring cold water on it to crack it. Just at the moment when he was about to pour the water on, however, a gust of wind sent the flames in the man's direction, lighting him on fire and killing him.
Oh man.
Yeah, that would suck. That's a great idea, though. Get it nice and hot and then shatter it with water. That's how most people break their windows during the winter, too.
Right.
2 ghost hunters die in a murder-suicide. Oh.
Oh, this has got to be the Constantinos.
Yes, Mark and Debbie Constantino were 2 paranormal investigators who frequently appeared on Ghost Adventures. I didn't know this. The couple was in the middle of a divorce when people discovered that Deborah's roommate had been shot and killed and Deborah was missing. Later, they tracked Deborah and her husband Mark to their adult daughter's apartment. After a standoff, they heard a gunshot and burst in to discover that Mark had killed Deborah and shot himself. While some speculate the couple's dabbling in paranormal had allowed something dark to attach itself to them, a more realistic answer seems rooted in the recent past. Allegations of domestic abuse surround the couple, with notes that Deborah would often have been the aggressor, while a more recent incident resulted in Mark's arrest after he and the couple's daughter allegedly attempted to kidnap Deborah. Wow, okay.
Wow.
How crazy is that? I'm going to skip that one. That's the curse of Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
A ghost solved a murder. Oh, I've probably actually read this one before. This one's a little different. In this case, a ghost helped solve a murder. In 1896, in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, a young Elva Zona Hester fell in love with the new town blacksmith, Edward Shue. Though Shue's last wife had died mysteriously, Elva went ahead with the marriage, only to be found dead by a mere 3 months later. Edward dressed his dead bride in a conservative, high-collared gown, and the doctor who swiftly examined her chalked her death up to childbirth, which made very little sense. Elva's mother, however, claimed to soon be visited by her daughter's ghost, who told her that Edward had murdered her by breaking her neck. She convinced the prosecutor to exhume Elva's body, and a subsequent evaluation showed her neck had been, in fact, broken. Edward was convicted of murder, dying in jail 3 years later. Yeah, I've read this one before. So,
Yeah.
Well, there you go. 12 accounts.
That's horrible.
Yeah, especially about the Constantinos. I've never heard that story.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like there was a whole lot of weirdness going on in their relationship, and I don't know. There's people that have speculated that, like you read, that because they were into the paranormal, perhaps something attached to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just you can only have so much damage until something breaks, and it sounds like they were, I shouldn't speak because I know nothing about it, but what I've heard is that there was, quite a history as well as what you read.
Right.
I've heard more of the history than that, but it's just, I don't know. The thing is if a relationship is broken, leave. Just be done.
Get out.
Just be done. And whether you want the person to leave or not, it's certainly not ever worth
hanging around for.
Right. Or, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just horrible. It was too bad. I mean, I liked them. They were really good at the EVP stuff. Mm-hmm. They were really well known and regarded for their work gathering and capturing EVPs. So,
oh wow,
it's unfortunate. But anyway, I guess the globe keeps rotating either way.
It does, yeah. Or the hemisphere keeps turning.
Hemiplanes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Planes, trains, and automobiles. All right. So we'll continue on here and find out what other mayhem we can get into. Next up is drum roll. Did I have something? No. It Got Angry in My Paranormal Encounters is next.
Here we go.
Let's just see what those are, ladies and gentlemen. My first encounter started when I had just got out of 5th grade. My parents were both at work, so I was home alone with my 2 miniature schnauzers. Those are quite meaty little sausages, aren't they? and was watching TV. My stomach growled, and I thought about eating some ice cream, so I went to the kitchen to get some. As I was scooping some into a bowl, I suddenly heard whistling. It was very loud and clear and sounded like a man was right beside me whistling. I looked around confused, but didn't see anything. I just turned back around and grabbed the ice cream and went back into the family room. And I was watching a TV show, but it did not have any whistling in it whatsoever. After I ate some ice cream, I went back to get some more, and I heard the whistling again, and I thought nothing of it and thought maybe my brain was just playing tricks on me. After I ate the ice cream, I went back for one more bowl.
Wow.
Jeez. This kid needs some vegetables.
Sounds like me.
I heard whistling again, and I quickly threw the bowl away and left to go back and stay in the family room. My second encounter was after 6th or 7th grade had ended, and I was outside playing on my swing set, and it was starting to get dark because the sky was a dark blue. As I was swinging, I looked at the swing next to me, only to find it swinging too. I quickly stopped, and it was swinging the same height, not going higher or lower. I thought how weird it was, because it was swinging at the same speed and same height. I looked all around me at the grass and saw that none of the grass was moving, and I couldn't feel anything, so I knew it wasn't the wind. And I also knew it wasn't me, because I had completely stopped and was staring at it. I told my mom when she got there next to me. I told her about it, and it was doing the same thing. She didn't know what it was and had this confused look on her face, so her and I went back inside. Another encounter happened during 7th or 8th grade when I was home. I ran into my room and jumped on the bed. The bed was beside the wall, but did not hit it when I jumped onto it. And I wasn't running very fast. Not 10 seconds later, my stuffed animal that was on my TV fell forward all by itself. I told my mom about it, but she told me it was just because I was running, so I believed her. About a month or two later, I done the same thing, but I walked instead, and I started to watch SpongeBob. And after a minute or two, I walked past the stuffed animal and gently got into the bed, and it fell forward again. I knew then that it had nothing to do with me running. I had another encounter about 3 or 4 months ago, but this was a bit new to me. I was under a quilt reading a story on my phone when I felt something poke my head. It had a bit of force to it because my head went forward a little bit from the impact. Thinking it was my mom, I pulled the covers off of my head and said, "Ha, Mom." After I said "Mom," I stopped because nobody was there. Looking around confused, I got off the couch and headed into the room my mom was in and asked her if she poked my head or if she needed anything, but she gave me this confused look and said she didn't do it. I went to check my dad, only to find out he was in the other side of the house and was laying down in bed sleeping. Another happened to me at the same time, or the same room rather. I was poked, but around 3 or 4 months later, I was on the couch reading another story when I heard the same whistle again, the exact same way, but this time my parents were home. It continued for about a minute until it just stopped. This made me realize I was not imagining the whistle. Occasionally I get random goosebumps for no reason. I smell perfume in one random spot close to where I sleep, or just feel hot or cold in a particular spot. I thought I was being paranoid until I told my older brother about this. He moved out before a tornado got my house, and now he's married and has 2 kids. And he said that when he was living here, he had just woken up and heard someone calling his name twice. And if anyone has any ideas, let me know. Kind of closure on that one. But yeah, doesn't sound like it's over the top. It's just something is there. Something is
asking for acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement, yeah, exactly. Just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm still here. Still whistling, poking you in the head. Yep, tipping over your animals. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So I don't know. That's not real aggressive encounter, but still, I guess it could be pretty unnerving, especially to a child.
Yeah.
All right. Spirit guide or visitor?
Ah.
All right. You want to hear it? Here goes.
Certainly.
When I was 5 years old, living in California in my childhood home, I would have frequent visits by an older woman dressed in like what I can only describe as Mary Poppins wear. Except this woman had no feet, and it would seem like she would float towards me. I would get very scared and cover myself with a blanket from head to toe. Boom. She would whisper my name, and I would cry.
Oh.
I named her Mary because of the similarity to Mary Poppins at the time. This went on for a couple more years, and suddenly it stopped. I didn't hear or see her anymore. It was about 5 years later, and my brother and I were playing in the backyard behind the garage, and I noticed a dirt-covered piece of concrete that had writing on it. I rubbed the dirt off of it to read it, and was shocked to find the name Mary carved into it, with the year 1898 just under her name.
Wow.
Is this the spirit guide or a ghostly visitor? I think it's Mary. Just keeping an eye on the house.
Ah.
I don't know.
No
It
doubt.
doesn't sound like a negative thing, though, either.
No. Didn't do anything. It just called her name. What,
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Drifted towards
drifted
her.
towards her. Yeah.
Or him, whatever.
The person.
Hangman's Hill.
Ooh.
Ooh, this sounds kind of creepy, spooky, creepy. So combine them, and it's creepy.
Screepy. Oh my.
I'll try not to combine words anymore.
Yes, please, because that's how we ended up with that one word that just won't go away.
I end up combining words and ending up with something totally wrong.
Thank you, Urban Dictionary.
Thank you for our listeners for letting me know the words.
I think that was vamp too.
Yeah, it was, it was vamp. Vamp's like, no, that's not how that word's used.
Don't use that word in that.
That's not what it means.
No.
So yeah, we'll just say it's spooky and creepy.
It's spooky and it's
We will not use screepy.
Screepy.
But vamp, let me know what that means. Now I'm curious. This is probably going to sound like going to be a long story. Sorry in advance for the length. I'm probably going to sound insane, but this is what happened. This story took place first in 2015 and more recently in 2016 and 17. And I've had several other experiences. How long is this?
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. Let me check this though. I got something here that I need to see. Okay. All right. All right. Just had to read that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I just got a message. Let's see. I've had several other experiences before this one, but I thought I'd share this one first. And I've spoken to spirits previously, but not like this. Also note that the Y letter on my keyboard doesn't work properly, so there might be missing Y's throughout the story.
But why?
But why? Don't ask why. In 2015, it's September, a friend of mine asked me if I could stay at their farm and keep an eye on it while they were away on vacation. I gladly accepted since it means I get away from home and basically stay in the most beautiful and peaceful place I knew. At that time, I was studying to become a bus driver, and I had to leave the farm 2 to 5 days of the week, Monday through Wednesday. Okay. It says 2,5.
Well, it's probably 2.5, which is
okay.
Monday through Wednesday.
Gotcha. Whenever I were on the farm, I checked up on the cats, the chickens, the bunnies, the horses, and the ducks. There were also baby ducks and chicks that needed to be looked after a bit more than the adult versions. A few ducklings did die during my stay, but I was told that it was to be expected by the homeowners. One thing that my friend did before she and her mother left for their vacation was to introduce me to the spirits of the farm. She said, "This is V. She's going to be staying here, he's going to be staying here, and he's going to take care of the animals on the farm until we get back. Please make him feel welcome and let him know that if there's any trouble that needs to be fixed." This was essentially it. Now, there's quite a few spirits on the farm. The most prevalent ones are my friend's paternal and maternal grandparents. Mostly, it's her paternal grandfather showing his dislike for the clothes line once in a while. Its present location isn't the location it was in when he was alive, and he moves it around when he passes. You got to be muted.
Oh.
Fix your mic.
Mic's off again.
Yep.
Give me the mute.
I did.
Okay. Let's see here.
Anyway, I kept an eye on everything, animal and farm related, whenever I wasn't studying or being lazy in front of the TV and or on the computer. My focus gets easily distracted, and whenever I don't have much to do. The studying went slow, and much of the theory that was to be read I already had from before. So I decided to go for a drive and look for geocaches.
Uh-huh.
In other words, treasure hunting with gas.
It's GPS.
It says geocaches.
It's
treasure hunting with
geocaching.
GPS. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. I thought it was gas, but it is a P. You're right.
Yeah, kind of like my pickup.
Yeah. I took the keys to my car, checked on all the animals, making sure they had water for the time being, and I got in my car. I decided to go north, and I opened up the geocaching app on my phone and looked for an interesting target close by. I read through a few descriptions of a selected few caches and decided that the one on Hangman's Hill, 4 kilometers or north of the farm, was a good one to start with. And while I'm at it, I decided to take the caches along the way, which aren't many at all. Along the way, I decided that there were too many muggles, non-geocache folk, around those caches, so I kept going to Hangman's Hill. I get to the spot where the cache is supposed to be, but I miss the turnoff. The road isn't really a road, it's just bushes and greenery covering the entrance to a hangman's hill. And the hangman's hill isn't really a hill, it's just a clearing surrounded by trees all around, and the road passes by just a few meters from the entrance. I keep going until I find a good spot to turn around on and head back, only to find that I missed the bleeping turnoff again. I once again turn back, but I missed the turnoff again, and I think to myself, seriously, how hard can it be to find the bleeping entrance? Frustrated, I turn back again and drive back to find the entrance, and this time I creep slowly back to the spot just to make sure I don't miss it. And when I see it, I think it all over. I go, nah, not worth it, and speed up. Only now the car feels heavy. Something in the air had gotten heavier once I got away from it. What the hell? I think as I glance over in the rearview mirror on the passenger side and thought maybe something had gotten stuck in the wheels. Logic, I know. I look in my left rearview mirror, nothing there, and then I see in the corner of my eye a woman sitting in the front passenger seat. I turn to look directly at her, and she's not there. I look at her again through the corner of my eye, and I see her clearly. She's sobbing hysterically while screaming, "No, no, 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 no." At this point, I realize, well, damn, there's a ghost lady in my car. Then I go, wait a minute, what the hell, is she here? So I speak out loud, me, what's wrong? Ghost lady, no, 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 no. Okay, so I shouldn't go back in there? Ghost lady, no, no, no. Me, okay, clearly noted. Where should we go then? Ghost lady, not there.
Oh,
Me, okay, I got that.
yeah, I got that.
That's when I became aware of another presence in the car, and I look in the internal rearview mirror and see a man surrounded in black negative energy. I'm screwed, I thought. The negative energy from that man was so freaking heavy. It made the car go slower than when I had been near Hangman's Hill. I'm sure this is as it happened before in the past with various cars. Anyway, I keep driving and I try to get both of them to leave my car while silently praying that they won't attach to me or the farm when I get there. I get to the farm and park the car where I usually park it, and I silently ask the spirits on the farm to keep the negative energy off the farm and enter the house where I flop down on the couch. Hours go by and I forget what happened earlier. It's early evening now, and I get a healthy adult dinner, crisps and dip, chips and dip, while I was on my laptop. Then the atmosphere changes in the room. Oh, please tell me that isn't in here. I think to myself. There was a man, but it wasn't the negative man from Hangman's Hill. I suspect he was my friend's grandfather who had died on the property many years ago. With him, he had a lady, and upon looking at her, I recognized her as the woman who had sat next to me in the car earlier that day. The man in front of me proceeds to tell me that the negative man from earlier was standing at the end of the dirt road to the farm. That said man was threatening to burn down the farm, and that I should go banish this negative man because I was the one who brought him here. These two spirits in front of me refused to leave until I did so. I told them, well, I'll go down there if you are there to back me up, and they agreed to do so. All said and done, I go down the dirt road and stand a good 3.5 meters away from the asphalt road that the dirt road led to, and eyed the negative energy in front of me. Wave after wave of negative energy tried to get into the farm property, but the spirits of the farm kept this negative one out. I proceeded to tell him that he wasn't welcome and that he was to leave. He kept threatening to burn the farm down. I got mad and yelled at him and said, "You are not allowed in here, and you're not to burn the place down, because if you, by some weird chance, did, I'll hunt you down and I'll get you back to life in a living body, and I'll kill you twice over." I was quite upset at this point.
You think?
Because no one threatens my friends and their home while I'm present. The whole procedure took about 20 minutes. By the time I was done, the negative man was gone, and the spirits of the farm were pleased. I then realized that there was a big motorhome parked in the parking lot of the adjacent open-air museum, and that the people had left the window open. Great, they must think I'm insane, I thought, and went inside. I couldn't sleep at all that night, so I stayed up and watched TV until I passed out. The negative spirit's face kept haunting me. When morning came, I was still tired from the lack of sleep. I fed the animals and checked on the house, or on the horses, just to have something to do, and to not think about what had happened last night. By the end of the week, my friend and her mother comes home from their vacation, and I go home to my place. I mentioned the encounter a few days later to my friend, who said she knew of the Hangman's Hill and that there had been a history of negative energy following people home. In 2016, early spring, I'm now a certified bus driver with a bus license, and I have my first job. Woo! It says woo! Excuse me. One day I'm working on a bus route that passes the Hangman's Hill.
Oh.
I didn't realize this until I see the sign of the district I'm entering. Damn, I think while I send out feelers to see if that energy is still there. Oh boy, yep, it is. And it's mad. Mad at me. Mad at the ghost lady for helping me. I silently ask my spirit animal to protect me. Here you go, Lewis. Protect the bus and to keep the negative energy out of said bus. The normal spic energy, S-P-I-K, the normal spic energy from hundreds of passengers. I don't know what he's trying to say there. I don't think it's a derogatory Mexican term.
It's my spike.
The normal spike of energy? Okay.
From
hundreds of passengers fade away a little as my spirit animal does its thing. The bus is now secure from any negative influence. I hold my breath as I pass Hangman's Hill. The ghost lady come running and screaming out of the clearing into the road with the negative energy behind her. I remember seeing only a big black cloud chasing her as she enters the road and disappears. And by the time the negative black cloud reaches the road, I've passed it by 50 or so meters. The black cloud disappears too as soon as it gets to the road. I silently thank my spirit animal for keep on going down the road. Along the way, I realize I'm going to have to pass the Hangman's Hill on my way back later that morning. Well, once I do, I never even see a glimpse of the two beings. In 2017, it's January, and I've for the first time in a while been tasked with driving down the bus route past the Hangman's Hill. I'm now well aware of where the spot is and ask my spirit animal to protect me and the bus once again from the beings of this place. This time, barely anything happens. I pass Hangman's Hill, and all I see is the ghost lady. She's standing at the edge of the road and waves as I pass. When I pass Hangman's Hill later, I don't see any sign of her or that negative man. It seemed that the place is calmer now, at least when I drive past it.
Wow.
That's quite a yarn, yeah, quite a tale.
Absolutely. But what happened to the guy V who was supposed to look after the animals?
That was him, the narrator. He was being introduced by the family to the spirits of the farm.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Being introduced. Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that part.
The family was well aware that there were spirits taking care of the farm or helping, and so they introduced him as going to be at the farm and taking care of it while they were gone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's the proper way to do it.
Absolutely.
That way Grandma and Grandpa don't get mad.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because clearly Grandpa doesn't like the clothesline.
No. Why'd they move it here? God dang it.
Wow.
Don't they realize they stabbed me through the heart with that pole when they moved it?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm buried right here, for God's sakes.
That's where I buried the shine, damn it.
Hey, you weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah, I guess not.
Dang it.
All right.
No, I don't keep it in the basement like you think.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice effect.
You've been accused of having a jug now.
Well, I got that Soda Stream.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right,
so the deal is that I try to be a little bit conscious of what I put in my body, and
well, if you can
that
control,
mostly just means that I know that I'm putting garbage in it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
It doesn't mean that I'm actually a healthy living person, although I'm trying to make healthier choices. One of the things that I am acutely aware of and have been made acutely aware of through the years by various friends is the absolute trash value of high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
And how absolutely horrible that is for you. And I've had, many friends that are aware of nutrition say, look, if you're going to drink soda, at least drink soda that just has sugar in it.
Right.
And, of course, sugar isn't necessarily good either, but it's on a healthy scale, it's way healthier than high fructose corn syrup. So
Right.
I always thought, well, I would like to get one of those soda streams because when I was at Walmart once, I read the ingredients to whatever's in those syrup things, and it's actually sugar. It's not high fructose corn syrup. So
Right.
I'd always thought in the back of my head, well, maybe sometime I'll get one of those. And never did. And then this last weekend, one of the neighbors had a yard sale. And out there was, for $2, was a soda stream used. And I was like, oh, cool. So I picked it up, and I'm trying it out.
Well, he also got a milkshake machine, too.
I did, and I tried that out, too. That was
how'd that go?
pretty epic.
Did you use my Irish cream recipe?
No, I haven't mixed up any rocket fuel yet,
Oh,
but
goodness, yeah.
I did make a chocolate malt. I got the malt powder and stuff.
Oh,
so.
really? I love chocolate malted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the hell I'm doing yet, but I'm having fun doing it.
Pixie says you can get natural flavoring for those. So
For
the soda stream.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They're kind of taking a healthier turn. The company is, because they know a lot of people are steering away from the sodas altogether.
Right.
So they're coming out with these other drink mixes that are absolutely healthy and good for you.
Right.
So I guess I
Good
don't
for
know.
you. Good for you.
I don't know, or better for you. I
Didn't
should
the
say.
FDA recently say that raviolis, like Chef Boyardee raviolis, are healthy for you?
Did they?
Yeah, something like that. It was something crazy.
Seriously?
I'm like, that crap's not good for you. How would the FDA? I got to look it up now. So anyhow.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about that because I can't imagine anything about those things is good for you. I got another story, and this one sounds really epic because the person on the title is like, 1/11/2017, I'm posting this tonight as I need to get this story out there for others to hear. This experience was my most horrendous yet and the first in years, and I'm still shaking. That's the title.
Wow.
So, excuse me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cough in your ears, ladies and gentlemen. But how's everything going, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Chat doing good? How you guys doing?
we're doing good.
Brandy's in there. Nice to see you, Brandy.
And give a shout out to Regla.
Regla, where you been, girl? I'm glad you made it. Outstandingly epic. So, yeah, we're just continuing through the night here. And I got to read this story because I got to know what happened now. It's like a soap opera. I'm just waiting.
Pixie says, yeah, they claim Chef Boyardee has 5 servings of vegetables. We don't, yes, it's absolutely healthy for you.
Is poop a vegetable?
Oh, my goodness. See?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. It rotates back and forth,
I as a kid, of course, I loved those things. And still, even once in a while now, if
I
I
used to just rip the top off of
Yeah, screw heating it up. You just kind of dump it in your face, and you kind of treat it like a beverage. You get these ravioli just falling into your gullet, and you hardly even have to chew them because they're so thoroughly processed. It's like that turns into mush just by closing your mouth.
They're not only soft, they're slimy too.
I know, and you can just swallow them. Like you feel like an anaconda pulling down a small deer.
A small deer.
Yeah, you don't even have to chew them. You just kind of just pull them down your gullet. But, yeah. Oh God, I think it was Chris Everard posted this recently. He was talking about animal attacks. There's two recent animal attacks, and one was in Africa, and this guy was baptizing his followers. And I don't know if it was the Nile or where he was, but he was in some waterway.
And he had done like thousands and thousands of people, baptized thousands of people in this water.
And so he's got himself and his followers in the water there, and he's just gotten done baptized somebody, and all of a sudden a huge croc came up and took him down.
Right.
Never to be seen again. Or maybe they did find a little bit of them, or I'm not sure, but horrible. It would have to be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, it's probably not the best laid plan.
He'd done it thousands of times.
Right.
There's nothing wrong here. The power of God compels you.
Yeah, well, apparently it compelled that gator to have a cheap meal. It's really sad and tragic. And of course, my heart goes out to not only the people that had to witness it, but of this man's family or whatever.
No doubt.
So that's horrible. But apparently in, I think it was Thailand.
Yeah.
This woman went missing, and they were trying to figure out what was going on. And
found her flip-flops and machete.
Yeah, they found her flip-flops and machete, and then they found, of course, the big python with a huge lump in it, and of course they killed the python and
Cut it open.
cut it open, and they found her inside.
Yep.
Horribly sad. I mean, I can't think of,
How do you die inside a python? Do you like suffocate or?
you don't die inside of it. You die before they eat you because they wrap around you and crush
Oh
you.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They wait for you to
that's right.
exhale and they tighten, and then you try to inhale and they exhale
So you
and they
suffocate.
tighten.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
that would
smother
suck.
you.
That'd be like drowning.
It would be horrible.
Yeah.
And speaking of weird stuff like that, I guess some guy was on YouTube. I think I heard about this last year. He was on YouTube making these survival videos. He's just some guy doing it, and he was trying to show people how to survive being stuck in quicksand. And,
Jesus!
on film, he died going down and down, and it just breaks my heart. It's got to be just a horrible thing. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, guy.
He was all alone. He had nobody helping him. Had no safety line.
That's stupid. That's just dumb.
Again, that's people chasing that whole vision of being, famous
Oh,
for something, and to do something like that.
yeah, you're famous now. It's more infamous, but whatever.
Right. I mean, it would have been so simple just to tie a safety line around your waist.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm not getting out. I'm still sinking, so I'm going to just use the safety line. Take two.
No. Let me grab this branch that's
Yeah.
unstable, and it'll just pull right out of the ground, and I'll blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was just gasping and trying to figure out a way to keep his head up, and then, of course, he went under, and it's just horrid, horrible. So, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the kind of things that make me sad. They do, because people dying is tough enough, but then if an animal kills someone you love, and just imagine these loved ones were food. It's like, no.
Darwin Awards.
Yeah, well, they're like the woman with the machete.
Yeah, well,
she
that's
couldn't do
not.
anything,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
sure.
nothing she could do. And
Yeah.
and the guy, baptizing people. Well, it's
He
just a
could've-
bad idea.
He could have chosen a better location.
Yeah, true enough. You
Yeah.
know, but people who do crazy things like fill like gopher holes with gas and then throw a match down it, or roll out onto the ice with your brand new giant Ford pickup truck.
Yeah.
And then throw a piece of dynamite under it. Well, you kind of. Oh no, it was. They threw the dynamite. The dog retrieved it and ran underneath the.
No. Oh my God.
Underneath the truck, and boom, there it goes.
Oh no.
And it took down like some people.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Oh God, yeah.
I'd never even heard of that one.
Yeah, it was crazy. Let's see here.
It's almost it's got to be paranormal because those kind of decisions are just not normal.
I know what my spirit animal's gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so tragic. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue because I do want to read this story.
Oh, sorry.
I keep getting sidetracked.
Sorry.
I'm incredibly petrified right now, as this is my first paranormal experience in years. And I'll tell you what happened, though. All right, so I went skating earlier, somewhere around 5:45 p.m. And I went to the gas station, all that jazz, and I was on my way back to my house, but decided to detour and go to this playground behind the rec center across from my neighborhood. After sitting there for a while, I decided to skate down into the little park where the lake pavilion and the BMX track is. And I began skating down the hill leading into the area when I just put the brakes on, immediately stamping my foot under the concrete to stop. At this point, I felt something. I felt an eerie feeling deep in my stomach. I picked up my board, silently looked around the area, and fog had covered the entire area. It had even covered the lake. Everything was dark with the exception of moonlight. And I looked around and just stood there. Something didn't feel right at all. I just listened and heard your run-of-the-mill nature noise. Nothing out of the norm. I began to ease up when I heard something more or less out of the norm. I heard a rattling in the distance, like that of a bike chain. And I thought to myself, maybe someone is out there on the biking track. Cool, that's cool. Then I walked forward a few inches and stopped. I felt the hairs stand up on the back of my neck because it would be nonsensical for someone to bike on a completely darkened track with no lights. I scanned, but I still saw nothing. Suddenly, the lights came on to this little building. It's basically a public building with bathrooms, equipment. Now Now, when these lights turned on, my heart sank. Why? They aren't motion sensitive. I've skated up there with friends before, later than this, and somebody had to have the lights turned on, had to have turned the lights on, rather. So I started to back up, keeping my eyes on the building, but then I stopped. I felt this sudden desire to actually walk towards the building to investigate. Everything was still incredibly dark and wet. I began slowly walking towards the building, keeping every step swift and silent. I peered around a corner and checked the bathroom side, but both doors were locked, padlocked. That's normal, so I was relieved for a moment, and I checked the whole perimeter of the building, and it was all clear. Nobody was there. I began to walk away, but I felt that feeling again, as if I had eyes on me. I heard something, and I turned around. Through a tiny window on the bathroom side, I saw a face. Faintly. It was incredibly pale, and I only saw it briefly. I couldn't make out any details, but it disappeared quickly. My heart sank into my stomach, and I began to swiftly run away, and I just couldn't see through the fog. It had increased significantly, and I feel like I hear a childlike voice, honestly, and it became clear to me. I remembered a story long ago about that area. Apparently, there was a little kid who went to the lake unattended. That little boy drowned, all because his parents were too lazy to accompany him to the area. The body was never recovered, and I realize this all sounds far-fetched, but as I got away from the area, I just couldn't stop shaking. This is the first encounter I've had in years, honestly. Huh. I guess it was maybe not as sensational as it sounded, but it was a good tagline. Got me to read it.
Oh my gosh, have we been going on for... No, we've only been going on for about 2 hours, not 3 hours.
Yeah, we're only at 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah,
We started just a little late, so.
Yeah, so that's all right. It's okay, Renee. I can't tell time either. Especially after a couple of these.
All right, so my dead friend contacted me last night. Lucid dream.
Oh.
I've always been a person who can remember dreams, and I've always found them fascinating. Last night, I was visited by my friend who died at the age of 16, falling from a parking lot roof. It's only a year ago. In the dream, she comes to me merely as a shadow, and she writes to me on the paper, telling me she is still too weak to walk in dreams.
Huh.
She has to come to warn me about something. But the thought of me not being able to see if it's really her freaks me out, and I write on the paper as well that I'm scared. Then she lets me go, and I suddenly go back to the dream I had before she'd contacted me. Still lucid dreaming, though, and very aware I've never been contacted before. The question is, how do we talk to her? So I this time can talk and not just push her away.
Huh.
That's a great question. Need someone like Sean or Dee or Deb
Yep.
to field that one.
Yep, no doubt.
That's out of my pay grade.
Ken says in the old Tarzan films they used porridge as quicksand.
Oh, really? Oh.
Porridge.
I'm not sure what this guy used. And the story really breaks my heart because it's one of those things. It's a stupid decision, but, it shouldn't cost somebody their life. But, what do you do?
Yeah.
He really set himself up for failure. And sometimes things just happen. They have to happen.
Yeah.
I don't pretend to understand why, but they do.
Has something to do with the hydraulic effect of water and sand.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Screaming child in a train wreck.
Oh, no.
I know. When I was 20, I worked in Chatsworth, California. And that was a normal desk job, and I was a mail lady in a large building, so I had my own office. For reference, the way it was set up was I had my desk in a corner where I could watch the door for people coming in to retrieve mail or send packages, and the door to my storage area was right behind me with a large support beam for the building. Between my desk and the door was the storage room, and this is kind of important. On September 12, 2008, I was answering emails and listening to music on my work computer as I finished up my day. As I was finishing up an email, I saw someone walk out of the storage room. This freaked me out because no one had walked in, and there was no other entrance to the storage room. So I stopped typing and slowly turned around to find a young boy maybe 7 or 8, standing behind the support beam, staring at me with black eyes.
Oh, he's a bean.
He's a bean.
He's a bean.
I thought I was imagining it, and he had dark hair and tattered clothes. Looks like he'd been burnt. I opened my mouth to scream, and he mimics me.
Oh, God.
No noise comes out of my terrified mouth, but he lets out the A scream, so shrill it started to shake the room around me.
Wow.
I, of course, panic and book it out of there as fast as possible. By the time I reach the outside door, I realize I am not the only one running. Could they have seen him and heard him too? When I get outside, I notice people running down the block as well. I could still hear a screeching like metal grinding on metal. Then I hear the ambulance and police sirens start. Turns out the exact moment the boy had visited me, there was a collision on the railroad tracks right by my work. The screech and shaking was all the sound and movement of a major collision that killed 25 people.
Wow.
I never found out if the boy I saw was a victim, but it's something my soul cannot shake. She
Oh.
included the link to the Chatsworth crash.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's on a Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just talks about the crash. There's nothing.
No real pictures of.
Oh, I guess this one.
Well, that's the engine upside down,
Yeah.
or on the side,
Right.
and that's after NTSB gets it,
NTSB.
National Safety and Transit Authority.
Oh, okay. There's the actual picture of the train wreck, but yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But what a weird situation, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
To have that spirit appear at the exact time that this is going
But
on.
you know, it's a small boy, 7 or 8, and he's half burned.
Right.
And then he lets out this, obviously it's the train,
Right.
shaking the building, and it's the squealing of the train as it's crashing is the noise that he's made. I'm pretty
Right.
certain, but what is the chances of that?
Right. I mean, that's just not. It's not just happenstance at all. So very strange, very wild, but apparently it happened.
Craziness.
Craziness. There's all kinds of it here in the portal, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the portal.
We excel at crazy. We're crazy's our middle name.
Crazy.
All right, here comes.
We're tuning in and watching you.
Absolutely. A ghost or more. My real name is Shannon. I've already posted some of the experiences on the Paranormal Reddit, but all I got was people accusing me of faking a photo of a large orb. Only one person gave me any useful help, and that person debunked the large orb as a light rod, but it didn't debunk any of the things that happened around me. To give you some perspective, I am a 15-year-old girl from England, Cornwall, and I've always noticed things I think other members of my family never noticed. I have never seen or heard things. I have seen and heard things since I can remember. One of the things I remember the most is always having to have my bedroom door closed when I went to bed. This was because whenever it was open, due to my mom or other family member checking on me, I would see a headless figure hovering in front of my door.
Huh.
This figure looks similar to the Dementors from Harry Potter, but without the head. I know I was just imagining things from the movie, due to the fact that I was about 5 or 6 when I started to see this, and my mom didn't let me watch any of the Harry Potter movies, 8 or 9 due to me getting scared by the never-ending story. The next thing I can remember was when a friend of mine and me were in the bath. My friend, who I shall call Katie, noticed 3 red balls of light shining through the bathroom window. I looked from where I was sitting and became completely mesmerized by the balls of light. They were shaped like an equilateral triangle. Both me and Katie jumped out of the bath, wrapped towels around ourselves, and ran down the stairs and told my mom about what we had seen and that she really needed to see. Now, I can't remember what kind of face she put on, but she went upstairs and we stayed downstairs. Not even a minute later, she came back down the stairs and told us off for making things up. Both me and Katie just looked at each other in complete confusement. I don't know. That's what they type, so. That's all I can remember about that time. This one didn't happen to me, but my friend, who I will call Izzy, who was staying at my house, and I was sound asleep when I was awoken by Izzy. She had tears streaming down her face, and I asked her what had happened and if I should go get my mom, and she would tell me what had happened. She wouldn't. She would tell me what had happened. So I took her by the hand and went to my mom. Izzy refused to even tell my mom why she was crying and just asked to go home. My mom ended up calling Izzy's mom, who came to pick her up. The Monday following the sleepover, Izzy told me why she was crying. She told me that she had woken up by a tapping on the window, which was impossible for a human to do as we were on the second floor, and she had gone to the window, not bothering to tell me about it. When she pulled back the window, she was greeted by what she described as an upside-down bird with a really long beak and glowing red eyes.
Wow.
Let's just say that Izzy never stayed at my house again. So, yeah, very strange story. I don't know. Very peculiar.
Bum, 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 bum,
Bum, bum, bum. Our Lady Queen of Reading, Ohio. In England, they pronounce it Reading.
Reading.
Yeah, but this is Reading, I think, because it's in Ohio.
I was reading my book.
I was riding. All right, not really into this, but I've seen some of this myself. It's real. Watched the sun dance in the sky, and it didn't hurt my eyes. A cop had his hands healed by touching the statue, and the guy, Josh, always smells like roses, but was tested on his skin and clothes and can't explain the scent. Apparently, he's having a vision of the Blessed Mother tonight there at 6:30 p.m. I just wanted to share with people something that kind of changed my life a while back. Okay. And then he's got a link for Our Lady Queen of Reading.org. Well, I mean, fantastic if people...
It takes a very strong belief, to really... Because they're gonna talk to her at 5:30 tonight. Oh, goodness.
The Thing. How big is The Thing? It's a pretty good size story. Myself and 3 other friends were out drinking one night back in 2007 when we were just 16. We had all told each other's parents that we were staying at each other's houses, and ended up with nowhere to stay that night. We all decided to go on a long walk around our town, and when I came up with the idea of going to the school we all went to at the time. At the school was an undercover metal unit that protects stunt mats from being stolen on the school running track. Knowing that there was a hole in the side of the metal unit that we could all crawl into and lay on some comfy mats for the night in shelter, we soon realized was not the first ones with the idea. As we approached the fence surrounding the running track at around 1 a.m. in the morning, we were full of confidence, laughs, and had no feeling of trouble. We all hopped over the fence and strolled towards the metal unit. I was leading with my 3 other friends just behind me, and as we got 6 feet away from the unit, we heard a noise. Something scuffling its way out of the hole we had intended to go into. At first, I assumed it was just a homeless person or drunk with the same idea of finding shelter. It wasn't until this thing that looked like it was crouching down looked up at us with neon green eyes and with black lines running down the center of them that we realized that this could not be a human. The thing then extended upwards as if it was in a lift and then stood about 7 feet tall with piercing eyes looking at us. This was a very dark figure, skinny and tall. None of us said a single word as we looked into the eyes of this thing that didn't look angry or enraged, but rather scared and exposed.
Huh.
Before he knew it, this thing turned and raced across the field of the running track. It was not moving like a normal person running. It was almost floating across the field at a phenomenal rate. Myself and one of my other friends attempted to run after whatever it was to get closure, but in a blink of an eye, this thing had cleared the running track, and we didn't see it climb the fence on the other side, but it was suddenly over the fence. The thing then faded into the woodland area in the distance. Myself and my friends then gathered back together near the metal unit, quickly hopped back over the fence, and then got under a floodlight in the school before all describing the thing exactly the same. We were all sure we saw the same thing, and even my most logically minded friend could not explain what we had just seen. One of my friends claimed that when he looked down towards the feet area of the thing, that it was floating with no legs, just hovering about half a foot off the ground. When We then heard what sounded like a rabbit screaming in pain in the distance. We soon left the school completely and got into a more commercial area of town. From that point that we saw the thing emerge from the unit to the point it was running from us happened in just a matter of seconds. But the event is still clear in our minds to this day, nearly 10 years on.
Wow.
We still have no clue what it could have been, given its ridiculous speed, unforgettable eyes, and unique movements.
Huh.
I don't know. That is a strange thing. But then again, I don't pretend to know everything that's out there. We live in a very dynamic world. Huh. In a Hanoi alleyway. That's Vietnam, right?
Hanoi, yeah.
Huh. I'm an American male, age 32. At the time of this experience, I was 23. Between 2007 and 2008, I lived in Hanoi, Vietnam, working for a newspaper. My undergraduate college has a program that gives recent graduates paid work experience posts across Asia. The newspaper was in English, a mixture of original content and translations of articles from Vietnamese language papers. The staff was evenly divided between Vietnamese locals and foreigners from English-speaking countries. Nowadays, Hanoi's overseas community and young traveler scene is probably an order of magnitude greater than it was in the early 2000s, but even back then, the foreign staffers at the paper were all friends, and we could go out regularly to the bars and dance clubs in the old quarter and a slightly shadier feeling adjoining area closer to the Red River. Excuse me. It's important to mention here that the primary mode of transportation in Hanoi is the motorbike. You can see great videos of what it looks like on YouTube. Riding a motorbike is mostly between 75 and 150 cc's. One feels far more connected with the surrounding cityscape than other people compared to in a car travel. In any case, on big weekends, nights out, we wouldn't drink and drive. However, on a regular night, after finishing the next morning's edition, people would sit relaxed and have a few beers, and after those hectic final hours in the newsroom. At that time, Hanoi had a curfew system that required almost all businesses, with a few exceptions, to close at midnight. One of these exceptions were the foreigner bars on a set of streets in the Old Quarter, which is a medieval tangle of lanes and curving streets and buildings, ranging from Confucian temples to former French colonial offices to newer buildings constructed after the wartime bombings. The Old Quarter style blends into the rest of the city center near the famous Hoan Kiem Lake. One night, my coworker and I, both who lived in a neighborhood close to the train station, were riding out of the Old Quarter towards our apartments. It was around 2 a.m. The streets were totally empty, and there were very few lights on outdoors. It was truly a night where the moonlight was the main source of light that cast everything in a dim silvery glow, in addition to the yellowish beams of our motorbike headlights. My buddy and I were cruising down the street at a leisurely pace, side by side, talking over the hum of the motorbike engines, and this is when we passed the alley. As we drove past the alley, we could see the dark outline of what looked like a man vigorously lifting, ripping, and tossing garbage bags. There was something immediately odd about the impression of this scene. Something about the pace of the sounds and the way the man's body seemed to move. If you've ever had a mouse in your apartment or home or heard the sounds of raccoons going through trash cans outside, the motions and the noises had that same uneven animal-like rhythm to it. Let's see. We both exchanged the first "did you see that" of the night. We decided to bank left at the next street, the Old Quarter, and area around it is like a web of streets, and loop back around until we were back on the same street again, coming up to the alley. We slowed our bikes to a stop as we reached the alley. The figure was still there. This time we turned our bike headlights directly onto the figure. The next thing I remember is the sound of both of our voices screaming automatically before even processing what my eyes were seeing. I don't know if I stopped screaming before the image resolved itself. When you are truly in a truly shocking and extreme situation, time slows down, and while some things stand out in great detail, the sequence of events in time breaks down into little moments that your memory catches in between the adrenaline rush of instinct.
Yep.
The combined flashlight beams of our motorbike headlights shone on a large man, around 6 feet tall or so, with a muscular build who seemed to be ripping through what looked like a pile of large vinyl garbage bags. He moved his body in the fast, jerky motions we had heard and dimly seen earlier, but with our lights clearly aimed at him and the sound of our engines, he looked up and paused. The man wore some sort of dark pants, but wasn't wearing a shirt, and his skin was bone white, not just pale, like he didn't have any pigment, like the white fur of a lab mouse or an opossum, but pale, almost like translucent skin. But the most startling aspect of this man was his face and head. Because our lights were shining on him, he looked up from what he was doing. His face looked like certain kinds of bats, the kind where the external features look almost melted off or pressed tightly against the head. His eyes were deep black. He had no nose, just a sort of place where two slits of nostrils angled up from the middle of his face. He didn't make a sound, but literally froze like a deer in the headlights, and his mouth was almost fish-like, hanging open, and I couldn't see any teeth. Just a lipless, almost circular, gaping hole. The ears were large and stuck out from the side of his head, and I kid you not, rose to little pointy nubs at the top. If you can imagine an old-time circus strongman who got bit by a radioactive bat and instead of getting superpowers, something went horribly wrong, that's what it looked like. And we were staring at, and what was staring back at us. Before even registering the thought of who said we should get out of there, we both sped away down the street at top speed, looking back now and then to see if the man came out of the alleyway. But he didn't. But even looking back at the dark mouth of the alley and knowing he was still in there creeped me out. After the initial getaway blast, we slowed down, and it seemed like my mind had settled down a bit out of instinct mode. Riding our bikes side by side, we both rapidly conferred about what we had seen. Both of us had seen the exact same thing, and it was clear that it wasn't a trick of the light or anything like that. I came from a large city in the U.S. and have seen all kinds of homeless people, and don't just freak out every time I do. That reminds me, in central Hanoi, it is very, very rare to see a homeless person combing through the trash and recyclables. This is a common sight in other regional cities. For example, the Phnom Penh, there is basically a parallel bunch of city street recyclers called Ajai, who wear headlamps and go through the streets carting away most of the valuable refuse and scrap from the informal garbage collection points that neighborhoods make for the small fleet of garbage trucks. We guess that maybe the man was born disfigured, and given certain cultural pressures, his family kept him inside except at night. Or he hid somewhere in the street during the day, and the area we saw him, the edge of the old quarter, was not far from the banks of the Red River, which offered many places to hide. Maybe he had been disfigured in a workplace accident involving chemicals or a fire. There are large industrial zones around Hanoi. My friend and I told our coworkers the next day and asked around among the local Vietnamese staff if they had heard of a man like this rumored to be in the city, and they hadn't. I can speak the language better now, but if I could, then I would have asked the people in the area where we encountered the man. Every so often when we went out for our work friends with our work friends at night, that friend and I would circle around the area where we had run into the man, but we never saw him again. And for that matter, never saw anyone else rifling through garbage bags at night in the alleyways of Hanoi's old quarter.
Crazy.
Very crazy.
At
yeah.
first, I started thinking of Voldemort first. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
right.
he who must not be named.
Yeah.
Then they got into the pointed ears and the gaping mouth.
Yeah.
It was like, well, okay.
Well, I think that's about it for tonight. What are you thinking, brother?
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking it is. It's 9:30. We've been on for almost two and a half hours. So
2 hours, 28 minutes. That's
sorry, Sarah. Nice to see you, though.
Oh, yeah.
Josie, nice to see you. We're getting ready to go, though.
But we love you all, and thank you all for being here and being a part of the show. Again, Friday night, Duncan Campbell will be here, and should be an amazingly fun conversation.
Yes.
And then Saturday, Linda Godfrey,
Yep.
the Dogman expert, will be with us. Dogman researcher. I don't like the term expert, as you know. But it comes out of my mouth sometimes just as a force of habit. But yeah, it should be some great shows. And then, of course, the following weekend, after this one, will be Mr. Christopher Everard here on the portal.
There you go.
And we are working on getting Bear back on real soon. So stay tuned for announcement coming up of when that's going to be. But I can tell you it's probably going to be in the very near future. So hang on to your hats, and we'll keep you all posted. But thank you guys so much. We love you so much. Keep spreading the word about the portal. Let people know about it, because we just want it to keep growing and growing and growing.
Absolutely.
Because it's exciting.
Because the more you love us and share us, and the more they love us and share us, the more we can love and share with you.
Yeah, group hug. Group hug.
Group hug.
Group hug. All right. So you guys take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Yep.
It's Hump Day's Eve, so you're on the right end of the week anyway. So hope the rest of it goes well. Be good, be kind, be nice. Stay safe. Take care of each other. And we'll see you on Friday here on the portal, everybody. Love y'all bunches. How about I roll the credits? What do you think?
Roll those.
Roll the credits? All right. We'll see you guys. Take care.
All right. Night.